Hello everyone, welcome to our first ever community day, digital community day. So we are really excited for this day of live stream and sharing what local support is available for Kingston residents. So we will shortly welcome our first speaker that will talk about Connected Kingston. Just a few things about how the live stream will work. So we have a program of 9 speakers coming today. So if you look in the description of the video, you will see the program and the time code for when people will arrive. If you have any questions, please add them to the Facebook comments and the speakers will reply to the questions right away. Some of the presentations are pre-recorded, so if you have a question for those people, you can just put them in the comments and they will reply as soon as possible. I will just liaise with them later. And some of the topics, some of the subjects are a little bit sensitive. We're going to talk about dementia, we're going to talk about mental health. So if you have any questions that you prefer to stay anonymous, you can just send a private message to the Kingston Library's Facebook page, and I will see them and ask the speakers to reply to the questions, but they won't be publicly visible. So I'm just going to see if our next speaker is going to arrive shortly. I'm going to leave you with the program for now, and yeah, I really hope you will enjoy the day. Really feel free to ask questions if you want, and yeah, we'll start very shortly. Hello, Philippa. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Marianne. Yep, looking forward to giving my short presentation about Connected Kingston.
Yes, amazing. Well, do you want to try to share your screen, and then I will just leave you the floor, and I will also have a look at the Facebook page. So if there are any questions, people can just ask them, and I will come back to you.
All right, so I've got a presentation. Sorry, and I'm just going to now share my screen and talk through the Connected Kingston website.
Amazing, thank you so much.
Right, so first of all, let me get rid of the information I don't need. So I'm going to, good morning, everyone. I don't know who's listening, but my name is Philippa. I work for Kingston Voluntary Action, and my role at the organisation is to provide, or one of my roles is to provide training for the Connected Kingston champions. So just to give you an overview of Connected Kingston, it is a project that has been co-designed with Kingston Council, Public Health and the voluntary sector to make and create a health and well-being portal. And that's broken down into 3 sections. There are the Connected Kingston champions who you will meet when you contact the council or in public health or dealing with people at Kingston through the voluntary sector, people who've signed up for the training and learned how to be a Connected Kingston champion to help you make some decisions about your health if you need help and support. If you need more than just a chat and some signposting, there's another service called the Community Connector service, which provides 6 sessions of one-to-one support with a trained person, a person trained in social prescribing, and they will be able to help you work on any of the issues that are making you unhappy and lead you and signpost you to other services which might be able to help. And the third part of this whole collection of elements of Connected Kingston is our fabulous website, which was co-designed and co-produced and reflects an input of many hundreds of people. And we are very pleased with it. And I'm very pleased to give you a tour of the site. So this is the homepage that we've been looking at. And you can see there's a banner right in the middle, which is the focus for this month, which is better mental health and the message that you are not alone. So I'm going to I think best thing to do is to give you all the bits and bobs on the homepage before I look at the mental health section. So at the top, you've got a translate button. So it's linked to Google Translate, and which has its pluses and its minuses. But you can use that translation button and it will translate the whole site. We'd always like feedback from you on the site, so please use this button. And if you use the site regularly, there is a favorites button. We're on the home page now. There's information about the project. There's information how to get in contact, and also information about how to get involved if you know of an organization that should be on the portal. Just moving down here, this is the way you can search for information, activities, and groups. These are some particular categories which we've put together because they have been sadly of great relevance to us during the COVID period. And then below these, there are the broader categories like children and young people. So if you're worried about a young person, you'd click on that category and have a look. There's information about getting around. There's housing and accommodation, again, very important at this time, employment skills, and also some support links of organizations that will support carers. So just to move further to the end of the homepage, there are very broad conditions here, like avoiding a housing crisis, how to get more active, and how to get out and meet more people. I'm going to go up now back to this. I'm hoping that anyone's got any questions, please drop them in the Facebook chat and I'll answer them later on when I finish going through the tour. So we're going to go back and we're going to look at struggling with mental health, and you're going to see how effective this platform is at putting you in contact with the right services. Each page, once you go from the home page, looks like this. You've got a general category of guidance and tips, which has been put together by Public Health and RBK with links directly into the mental health crisis line, children and young people, young minds advice, and information for older adults. Say, for example, they're here, the Silver Line help for older people. Under this category, 25 services have been found that all Kingston residents can access. Some of them are free services. Some of them are a service for a group of people, and there is a cost to them, but no organization on our platform is charging more than what is considered a reasonable amount for the service. But the majority of services and activities, you'll see here, the mindful meditation music from Voices of Hope, that is an activity. And in this particular instance, it's free. It's a great link if you want to try it out to some online music on YouTube to rest and relax to. It's a selection. A playlist even. So here, just moving down this list here, you can see how it's laid out. My plan at this point is to look at COOTH, because I'm particularly concerned about the mental health of young people, as I'm sure many of you are, coming out of this this terrible pandemic. So I'm going to click on View More. And you'll see this is the standard layout for all of the pages on the portal. Who's it for? What it provides. So COOTH offers counselling, peer support, and mental health support. They also have a chat service that young people can access between midday and 10 p.m. and at the weekends, and the additional content and support that is available to anyone through the COOTH service. Here is a lovely video of one of their young people who've accessed the services and the difference it's made to them and their mental health. This is a link to the website. This is an email for parents to email in with any concerns. You can print the page, and again, you can add it to your favorites, and you can share it widely across social media. There's Facebook, Twitter. You can send copy the link, and you can open up your email and email the page. And we usually have on all of our services, which have all been through a vetting process, we don't normally have a quote from the organization about how people have found the service, how useful it's been. And then we put together at the back end of the website a list of links to other related services. And there's another, you can click on this and view even more additional related services to young people's mental health. So let me go back to the homepage. Here. Because what I want to do is I want to go on to page 2, because as I mentioned, there were a large number of pages. So at the bottom, you can go through and scroll on the next page series in the list, as it were. I hope I'm explaining myself properly. I'm looking for a particular page which I looked at beforehand to make sure that you can see another feature of the website. And this is a button which has been turned on by the agency to enable you to get in contact directly through the website, rather than having to pick up the phone and hang on, and maybe you don't have any data on your mobile or whatever. So it gets around all of that. You can make the connection here. And so you look out for this button on the right-hand side, make a connection. And every organization who's agreed to have this button turned on has agreed that within 2 working weeks, i.e. 10 days, they will get back to you and say, yes, that we can help you out, or no, but perhaps maybe you can try here. So you're not left in the lurch. And a very short tour of the how to use the connection service, because it can be quite alienating if you haven't used it before. So you click on this, tells you what's going to happen. Your name is going to be sent to Release Counselling with your contact details. They will get in touch with you within 10 days, and you'll have the option also to complete this form on somebody else's behalf with their permission. So that is a visual representation of what I've just read out. Are you going to refer yourself? Are you a friend or family? Or are you someone else? And in this instance, because I'm a champion, I would click, I'm going to refer someone else. The information that's collected is roughly the same. You put in the name. I'm just going to put XX, continue. Then you give that information. Okay, here. If they don't have an email address, sorry, we're going to end up with all my contacts here. You can provide, if they can't provide an email or a telephone number, you can click on that and you can provide their address. So, oops. How am I doing for time?
Yeah, we are good. You have 5 minutes. Yeah,
okay.
It's all good.
All right. I'm just putting in the information about, the address for Kingston Voluntary Action. And I'm going to click continue. And then I have to put in my name. Let's put in Philippa. Okay. And I work for Superhighways, which is on the list here. This is my other job as part of Kingston Voluntary Action. RST. Right, I can't find us on there. This is not going particularly well. Anyway, I'm not going to make this referral, so I would just put in that I work for the Music Trust. Then we're going to go continue, and then put in the information here, and then continue. And then you have to click that you agree for the connection to be made, and then the referral is sent off straight to Release Counselling, and then they need to get back to you within 10 working days. So I hope that is a useful tool. I'm sorry the last bit was a bit messy, but are there any questions that anyone's got?
I don't see any questions on the Facebook page right now, so if anyone has any questions, please add them. And if you have questions after the live, I will send them to you by email, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, right now I don't see anything. But thank you so much for this presentation. I think it's really important because obviously with this first community day we're going to have 9 speakers, including you, but we can't showcase everything that is in the borough in just one day. So it's really important that we have a place where everything is concentrated. So thank you so much for your presentation, Philippa.
It's a pleasure, and thank you, everyone out there who's listening. Bye-bye. Do get in touch via the portal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, hello Claire. So nice to see you. Sorry for the technical mishap. It's always
That's fine.
it has to happen at least once every
Yes,
time we do
yes.
something
One
digital.
can just take it in one stride now.
So you're here today to talk about Silverfit, and I think you have a
I am.
presentation to share.
I do. I'm just going to share that now. Hopefully that
Yeah, perfect.
will work. I'm just going to right. Can you see that now?
Yes, all good.
Excellent, excellent. So I shall just plow straight in. So I'm going to talk to you about an organisation that I work for, which is a charity called Silverfit, and we're just opening up a whole range of activities in Kingston. So just a bit of background about who we are and what we do. We're a charity for older people, and we're promoting happier, healthy aging through physical activity. The charity's got quite an interesting background. We were founded 8 years ago by Eddie Brocklesby, or Edwina Brocklesby, she's known as more formally, aka Iron Grand. So she's 70. Actually, I think she's 79 now. So she's the UK's oldest triathlete. And Eddie came kind of late to fitness, so, you know, in her 50s. So she was someone who wasn't accustomed to doing any kind of workouts or physical activity. She was busy leading her life being a kind of senior social worker. But then she discovered fitness and subsequently founded this charity 8 years ago. And Eddie actually lives in Kingston, and so do her children and grandchildren. So she's got lots of connections with the borough. So Silverfit's now got over 2,000 members, and we run sessions across 19 venues all over London. We offer a range of sports and fitness activities, and importantly, what we call it the kind of social sandwich. So there are activities, and after that, we encourage members to stay on, have tea and coffee and chat and get to know each other. And this works really well because quite often if you're doing an activity, you know, you can't chat to people when you're doing Bollywood fitness or Tai Chi or yoga because, you know, you're concentrating on other things. So we encourage members to stay on afterwards, have a bit of chat, socialisation. We've just had a round of very jolly Christmas parties that's gone on. And it's a great chance to make new friends. I'll go through some testimonials from members later on, but really to kind of gain confidence and again, you know, rediscover fitness or try new hobbies if you haven't done any fitness before. So we advertise it as for the over 45s, but our members do tend to skew a bit older than that. So it's really kind of 60s, 70s, 80s. I think we've got some 90-year-olds as well. These are the what we're doing in Kingston. So we've got 3 venues, but one third one's about to open. And this is the range of activities that we offer so far. So indoor, there's yoga, Tai Chi, and indoor rowing. And outdoor activities, we do Nordic walking. So just to go, I'm just going to go through very briefly the activities that we offer and tips as well. So our indoor rowing classes take place at Kingston Rowing Club. So that's in Canterbury Gardens, down by the Boaters pub. Some of you might know. So lovely setting. You can't see from the picture here, but along this side, it all opens out onto the Thames. So you feel you are really rowing on the Thames, although you're not. You're inside, safely inside. And this is just a picture. In fact, that's Eddie, our founder there, and Sue, our instructor. All our instructors are highly qualified and trained, and also trained in supplying fitness classes for the older user. Very much tailoring the classes to individual needs, so you don't have to do anything, you know, that you don't feel confident in doing. The instructors will kind of go around and bespoke class or tailor it to your specific level, and everybody's, you know, very relaxed. Everyone's at different levels. I don't know if you feel, you know, fitness. I'm interested in fitness now, but for most of my adult life, I wasn't into it at all, and I thought the idea of going to a gym class really intimidating. Although now I realise it's not. So it's very much, you know, it's very friendly. Everybody sort of, you know, piles in together. It's not, there's nothing intimidating about it. Anyway, so these are our classes every Thursday, 11 o'clock at the Rowing Club, and then we have tea and coffee afterwards with Sue. And this is just a little map to show where it is. So there is on the website, I'll talk about how you book and remember, instructions on how to get to all the venues. Then we've got yoga and Nordic walking at Canbury Gardens on a Wednesday. Oh, sorry, actually, that's a mistake. Sorry, it's a Tuesday. That's a typo on my part. I'll update the presentation. So that's actually on a Tuesday. And this is, we have yoga at Canbury Pavilion. That's 1 o'clock registration for 1:15 class. And again, our instructor, Tanya, she can tailor the class to whether if you're a wheelchair user or you just want to do seated yoga or a walking frame or sticks or whatever. So again, it's a very flexible class, and Nordic walking as well along the towpath. So we provide sticks. We have a qualified Nordic walking instructor, and their warm-up exercises and cool-down exercises, and it's all very safe. We do full risk assessments and all our activities, so everything, you know, is very kind of structured and safe, and we provide the equipment. So here we are at Canbury Gardens, Canbury Pavilion, a lovely venue actually, and again great sort of indoor. I think there are some members having coffee outdoors, which is lovely in the warmer weather, but it's also very cozy indoors. And then a new session that we've got opening up on the 25th of February at the United Reformed Church, right in the centre of Kingston, Eden Walk. And the church, might know it, it's a big kind of yellow brick building, has lovely facilities. You can see the coffee bar here, very cosy, with very nice subsidised tea, coffee and snacks. I think a cup of coffee is 90 pence. And so we're just starting that on Friday the 25th, again around lunchtime, 12:30 registration for 12:45 class. It's 45 minutes with one of our established instructors, Michael, who takes classes, takes our Whittam classes as well. His class is always really popular. And again, if you want to, you know, do Tai Chi in a chair, that's fine as well. I think you can see an example of that here. So highly flexible. It's a lovely venue. There's a lift up to the second floor, I think, where we're running the classes, all completely accessible. So all our venues are accessible as well. So we try and make the classes as inclusive as possible. And that's for the United Reformed Churches with some instructions on the website. If you, I'll talk about that in a moment. Yes, so these are some refreshments, how to book. Right, so in order to book, you have to go onto our Silverfit website. That's the link down below, and that takes you through to the Kingston page. So each venue has a separate page, and you can book weekly. You have to click on the link. It says pipe form. You just put your details in. Now, so booking opens a Tuesday midday and closes on Thursday midday. Sometimes people don't manage to get quite booked in that window, and generally we can accommodate them. If you haven't got internet access, there is a phone number on the website that you can use. It's an answer phone, so it's not monitored every day. So I would just warn you about that. We don't have the facility to do that. It's best to book online if you haven't got internet access. I know many members ask, they have friends or families or support workers who book for them. So that's really the best way, because then we can actually put you on the list and send that out to the instructor. Before you start, if you're a new member, we do ask you to fill out a physical activity readiness questionnaire, bit of a mouthful, a PARQ, just with any, your medical details, if you've got anything. It's a kind of tick box type operation, so nothing complicated, with emergency contact numbers as well. And that just means that we know who to get in touch with if for any reason you're unwell or can't get home or whatever. And also alerts the instructor to, if you've got any medical issues that they should be aware of. So as I say, you can book every week. There's no subscriptions, no obligations. Just come and go as you please if you feel like it. Life happens, things crop up. We do ask you to just let us know if you can't make it, because on some classes we're kind of almost up to capacity. Oh, and I should just mention in connection with that, we have done COVID risk assessments in all our venues and our classes. I know we're all just coming out of all the COVID restrictions, but we still make sure that we are COVID compliant. So I'll make sure that all the venues, equipment is properly sanitized, there's adequate ventilation, that with our classes, we set the capacity so that they're not too crowded, so you're not all kind of crammed in together, so social distancing can be maintained, in case anybody's got any worries in that department. So then people ask, so what's it cost? Well, this is the great thing. It's free. It's free. And I know some fitness classes, it can add up, can't it? If you have to sign up. I mean, our yoga instructor was saying, well, actually, a lady who's at the yoga comes to the yoga class, and she was saying, she's desperate to do yoga because she was off on kind of long-term sick leave, and but it was going to be £12 a session. So every week, if you're thinking about that in a month, it can all add up. So relieved to actually find this session, and it is all free. We do say, if you would like to, there's a Just Giving link on our Kingston page or on the site in general. Again, no obligation, just if you feel like sometimes people just put in a few pounds here and there, that all helps, and obviously we're very grateful for that. So what do our members say? Well, these are all testimonials from real life members, so you can see how they really feel it has benefited them, their confidences. Some people like to meet at Silverfit, they can be carers, for either partners or even kind of elderly relatives. They find it difficult to get out. They feel that they've kind of become more withdrawn and lost social contact, can happen very easily. And that Silverfit has really sort of reinvigorated them, given them a new lease of life. They've made lots of new friends, because the socializing afterwards is it's a really great part of it. Again, you don't have to stay. Nobody, many people say, oh, I've got stuff to do today, I'm going. But, people just stay for as long or as short a time as they like, have a quick cup of coffee that we supply, and some biscuits or tea. And then we all go on our way. See, so talk about making new friends. This is rather a long quote from Michelle. She's one of our Witten members, actually, but she is a great advocate for Silverfit. And you can just, I just put that there. So she's had 2 hips and 2 knee replacements, although you wouldn't think it to look at her. She does Tai Chi and Bollywood fitness, which again we're thinking about introducing later on in United Reformed Church. So that's great for Bollywood dance, but with a kind of fitness angle to it. And again, she's saying it doesn't matter how fit you are. Some of the members, and I would say, these classes are, they're open to men and women. So we've had blokes doing Bollywood fitness, lots of blokes doing Tai Chi and yoga. So, open to everybody. And all about, whatever fitness level you are, and new friends and the tea and coffee. And also it's check up to make sure that kind of everyone's doing okay, because some people do live on their own. So if they haven't been for a few weeks, maybe kind of they've made friends, you might want to get in touch with them. And it's great, so great joining all in. And this is Penny, who's one of our Nordic walkers, and she's been Nordic walking since we started the class in September. And she's we often get this, a lot of praise for our instructors because they are so nice and welcoming, and they really kind of, it's more than just giving a class, it's really getting to know the members. And again, Penny's saying it's a kind of new way of life. So if you want to contact us, go through to the Silverfit page. I just say these are some of our thoughts, our sponsors, because people say, well, how can you do this free? Well, this is why, because we are a charitable organisation, and we are supported by a whole range of funders, including the Borough of Kingston-on-Thames, Sport England and National Lottery, and many of our venues are very very generous to us in the borough. They offer us either reduced rates for the class, or in some cases give us the space free. So I think it's great because everything is paying off in a sort of nice virtuous circle. So we can give the classes free and the funders help us out, and everybody wins, and all the people again working for the charity. Most of us are part-time because we do other things as well. I actually teach at Kingston University. So it's a really nice balance, and I think really friendly. I would say, you might feel a bit put off. You think, well, I don't really want to be very friendly. I want to do my exercise and go home. That's absolutely fine as well. I mean, I'm not a big joiner myself, although I have really kind of got into this. So you don't have to feel overwhelmed that you're going to be, brought into this whole kind of, everything's going to be always solitary and everything. You can do your exercise, go home. Some people do, that's what they prefer, and that's absolutely fine as well. So I think, so that's it. So kind of any questions? And that's me. I'm Claire. I'm going to stop sharing now.
Yeah, let's see. I don't see any questions on the Facebook page at the moment. So yeah, if anyone has a question, again, please ask them to the comments.
Fabulous.
And if not, feel free to visit the Silverfit website. We'll also put the link in the comments.
That's lovely.
Yeah, I don't see anything at the moment.
anything that you think I haven't covered?
No, that was really clear and really enticing. Honestly, it's a really good thing that you're doing, and it seems like a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. I tell you, because I think everybody gets a lot out of it. I mean, I get a lot out of it. I always join in the classes as well.
Yeah.
I think it's I think it's just the venues are nice, really welcoming. The instructors are all great. I've made and the members all we all have a lot of fun and chat and doing
because there's a big social element to it. It's not just about fitness and
it is.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for inviting me on.
Well, thank you for coming.
Well, very pleased to be able to talk about Silverfit. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Have a lovely day.
And you. Bye.
Thank you, Paula, and hello everybody. I'm Claire Jeffries and I'm from Home Instead. We provide care and support to people in their own homes in the local area, Wimbledon, Kingston and surrounding areas. Apologies for not being there today. I had a prior arrangement, so I'm recording this for you. So slightly daunting looking into the lens of a camera, but I'll do my best. I have been asked to talk to you today about what it's like to be a carer of somebody who has dementia. So I'm going to refer to the person who has dementia as a loved one, and the person who's caring for dementia, husband, wife, son, daughter, as the carer, so that you can understand where I'm coming from. Over the last 11 years, we've cared for an awful lot of people with all different types of dementia. And for those of you who don't know, there are over 400 different types, and you can have more than one. So it's a really, really complex subject. And I've spent an awful lot of time researching and understanding really what it's like to have dementia, so that we can make sure that we care for somebody appropriately. And what we've found over the years is that it's the carers, the husbands, the wives, the sons, the daughters, who are the ones that find it hardest to understand what's going on, because you're with them 24/7. You're seeing somebody change from the person they were to the person they're becoming with dementia, and it's one of the hardest things to watch. If you'd lost a leg in a car accident, for example, you would care for somebody and treat somebody in a very different way, because you can visually see that they've lost a leg. You would understand that from a physical perspective, they are no longer able to do some of the things that they used to be able to do. You know that the rehab that they will have to go through physically and mentally will be a long journey. You'll understand that psychologically, they're going to have to take a lot of time to get their heads around the fact that this has happened to them. With dementia, however, it's invisible. It's completely invisible. There's no badge that anybody wears to say, I've got dementia, be careful, I've got dementia, treat me differently, because we just assume that they're normal because they behave most of the time normally. And you as a carer, behind closed doors, you often see a very, very different person to the one who presents themselves when they're out in public. So it's really hard for you. Really, really hard for you. We run once a month here at Home Instead in our offices in New Malden. We run an Understanding Dementia workshop. It's a 3-hour session specifically for carers. And we've been running those for a number of months now. And we have found the reaction and the response to some of the advice that I give people, it really works. So I thought I'd share a few tips with you today on some of the things that we go through over those 3 hours. I haven't got 3 hours, I've only got 15 minutes to tell you as much as I can to give you help and support. The first thing to remember or to know and understand is dementia is a journey. Dementia is a journey that you and your loved one go on from the moment you start to suspect that something's not quite right. And that could be becoming forgetful, not remembering things, not being good with money, having falls, appetite gone, things that you might not think are associated with dementia, but you've noticed that there's something different. From that, you spend a little bit of time deciding whether or not there really is something there, or is there maybe some other stuff going on which you might get checked out by a GP. And then I imagine you get to a memory clinic and some assessments are made. And you may come away with a diagnosis of something, some kind of dementia, cognitive impairment. There's obviously something that's gone on or is going on in the brain. And from that moment onwards, you are on a journey. You're on a journey of dementia. And every part of that journey will change. So the person that you are looking at right now is the person who is that person in the dementia this moment in time. In a few weeks, in a few months, in a few years, their journey will start changing because their ability to do things by themselves will start to change. In the early stages, there may be some fear, there may be huge anxiety because this person knows that they're not able to do some of the things that they used to do. But after a time, people will start to forget that they are no longer able to do those things. And therefore, as far as they're concerned, there's nothing wrong with them. I'm just being me. You have to start accepting that that person isn't going to change how they feel about themselves. You are the person that's going to have to start changing how you care for them and how you behave around them and the language that you use when you're with somebody who's living with dementia. The first thing that I would ask you to do is to stop asking questions. What did you have for breakfast? How did you get on when you went for your walk yesterday? How's the book? Why aren't you reading your newspaper? Why have you got your trousers on the wrong way round? You haven't brushed your hair. Didn't you remember to brush your hair? All those questions that you are asking somebody, all it's going to do is cause anxiety, because your loved one has to answer those questions, and sometimes they might not know the answers because the damage in the brain isn't allowing the words to flow freely to give an answer to something which before used to be a really simple question. So if I said to you, would you like a cup of tea? You would be able to say, oh yes please, that would be lovely, milk, 1 sugar, or no thank you, I've just had a cup of tea. Actually, have you got coffee? Whereas somebody with dementia may actually struggle to answer that question. And so the behaviour that comes off the back of trying to answer a question that they no longer are able to do could be anxiety, aggression, rude, swearing, getting up, walking away, not wanting to be in that environment because you've asked them a really simple question and they're at a point where they don't know the answer anymore. How awful is that for somebody who maybe vocabulary was something that they had in abundance, and now a very simple question, what did you have for breakfast, is a question that they can't answer. So the first thing I would say to you is stop asking questions. It's really hard. It's really, really hard because we are just programmed. How are you? How have you been? Did you have a nice weekend? What did you have for lunch? All those things are something, it's what we call surface chit chat, where we just have that conversation with somebody. Somebody with dementia might be able to have a little bit of surface chit chat with you. So you chat away to them and they seem absolutely normal. There's nothing wrong with them. But actually, if you go deeper underneath the surface, they're not actually able to have anything more than just surface chit chat. If you try not asking questions of a loved one, see what happens. So somebody says to me, well, what do I say instead of, I want to know whether or not they've had breakfast. If I ask them, have you had breakfast? Their response is, I don't know, I can't remember, or I think so, or what's it got to do with you? Or I had the same as usual. Do you actually know whether or not they've had breakfast? By just having conversation, so the surface chit chat, where you as the carer start talking about, do you know what, I love a banana for breakfast, or we've got some really lovely marmalade at the moment, it's absolutely delicious on toast. You may get a response from them that indicates that they particularly like some type of food, or they might have had it, and you can then play on the fact that, I know you like marmalade. I tell you what, I'm going to make us a nice piece of hot toast with that lovely butter and marmalade on it, and we can have it together. I haven't asked any questions there, but I've made an assumption because they've commented on the fact that they like a nice bitter marmalade, for example, that they might like a piece of toast with marmalade on it. So stop asking questions is the first thing that I would say to you. It's really hard. It's really hard. What we're trying to do is to alleviate the anxiety that somebody might feel by questions being thrown at them all the time. And that's all we do when we're worried about a loved one. Are you in pain? Are you having problems with your eyesight? Have you been to the toilet today? All those sorts of things can become a massive thing in somebody's mind, and therefore they then shut down and don't want to speak to you because all they can see is questions being asked and they don't know the answers. The next thing to remember is, for somebody living with dementia, often they can't store most recent information. So that question again, what did you have for breakfast? They can't remember, but they can remember something way back, which always stuns people. I don't understand. She can't remember what she did yesterday, but she can remember what the name of her neighbours were when she was living in Leeds, when she was evacuated as a child. How come she can remember that, but she can't remember the most recent stuff? Because the most recent stuff that goes into the brain doesn't stay. The stuff from a long time ago is the stuff that's stored in a different part of the brain that remains there for much, much longer. And often people will go back to a time that they remember, that the brain is allowing them to remember. So it might be that they're talking about something which is many, many years ago in their memory, but actually they think it's current. So by asking the questions, what did you have for breakfast? That information's not there anymore. So they might relate back to a time when they were in a place that served breakfast that actually was a nice breakfast or a not nice breakfast, trying to just act normally when responding to you. Go with them and go with the words that they use. So if you have somebody who isn't able really to talk, string big sentences together or do anything other than surface chit chat now, just by you talking about something. So for example, pick on something that they really love. What did they used to do? What did they really enjoy prior to dementia coming into their lives? Well, an example, she used to be a ballerina when she was little, and as she grew up, she often went to see ballet at the theatre, and she follows the opera and ballet and all that sort of stuff is something that she's got a real passion for. She might not remember all the stuff that she used to about ballet, but if you start talking about ballet, not asking questions, but just talking, just chit chat about ballet. And it might be that you say, oh gosh, what a shame Darcy Bustle's not on Strictly Come Dancing anymore. She was a great judge. What a beautiful dancer Darcy Bustle was. You may get a response from that says, oh yes, but Margot Fonteyn was far better than Darcy Bustle. Oh yes, I remember Margot Fonteyn. She was beautiful, wasn't she? And then you allow that conversation to flow because they are remaining the expert in the subject of ballet. They are valued for the knowledge that they have. So they suddenly go from not really understanding what's going on in the world. Hang on a minute, she's talking about ballet. Oh, Margot Fonteyn, I remember Margot Fonteyn. I can actually talk with confidence about somebody who I know. So I can add something, I can add value to the conversation by saying something about Margot Fonteyn, which will make me, the person with dementia, feel as though I'm part of the conversation. If I said to them, do you remember Margot Fonteyn? You might get a response, well, yeah, yes. But actually, that's you questioning them. For them to come back to you just through surface chit chat about something that they know, they become the expert. And so you then start to build a picture of what actually makes her conversation enjoyable. So it might not be ballet, it might be cooking. Asking their advice is also a really good way of engaging somebody into a conversation. They become the experts again. In this really challenging, difficult world, they suddenly become the experts. Oh gosh, I tried really hard yesterday to cook some roast potatoes. I don't know why I struggle so much. I remember watching Delia Smith. She made some amazing fluffy potatoes. I think she parboiled them first or something. Can you see, I'm not engaging in conversation with my loved one. What I'm doing is I'm having surface chit chat, talking about a subject that I know she knows about or he knows about, waiting to see what hooks will invite them in to the conversation that I know they've got a lot of knowledge on. So I may carry on that conversation for a bit longer. I might have to engage in something, go down another avenue of conversation. So actually, Delia Smith, didn't she own a football club as well? I'm sure she owned a football club. What was it? Norwich? Was it Norwich City or something like that? I'm not asking the question. I'm just chatting. See what comes back. So actually, you may then get a conversation flowing where the expert in the room tells you all about how to cook potatoes. Well, you know what it is. You haven't got the oven high enough, or you didn't heat the fat up before you put the potatoes in the oven. My mum used to make amazing potatoes. Oh, I remember your mum's potatoes. They were amazing. Rather than firing questions all the time that they may struggle to understand or know the answer to, because the brain's not allowing them to anymore, for you just to chat, see what comes back. Always good to have a book, write down some of those things, some of those subjects. So EastEnders, they've watched EastEnders all their life. They've got a big problem at the moment. Every time you go to see your mum, all she wants to know is where her handbag is. Those constant questions that somebody might ask you all the time. You've been there an hour and they've asked you 20 times, where's my handbag? Have you seen my handbag? Why is she asking that? What's the anxiety that's causing her to worry about her handbag? Well, because when she goes out, she's worried that she won't have any money. So by responding in a way that makes her feel that everything's going to be okay, might involve going back into a different topic. So, well, when we go out, Mum, it's okay because like they do in EastEnders, you know, when they pop into the Queen Vic, you've got some money in your bag, so you'll be okay. So what you're doing is you're taking away the anxiety of where my handbag is, and you're swapping into an area, a topic that she's familiar with. Oh yeah, that Queen Vic, they drink really early in there, don't they? You often see them in there at lunchtime having a drink. Well, we could do that if we're ever out, when we go to the park. We could always pop into the pub and have half a shandy if it's a nice day. That would be quite fun, wouldn't it? So you're taking away the focus from the where's the handbag, and you're adding in something, an area, a topic that she understands, which can make a big difference to the anxiety that is caused by the repetitive need to get an answer to something. What time is it? What time is it? What time is my daughter coming? What time is it? What time is it? Trying to understand why. What is it about that moment in time that they need to have an answer for? Could it be that around about 5 o'clock in the evening was a time in their life which was a really, really busy time in the house? So it was when the kids came home from school, it was when she had the food on the cook, it's when she'd made the cakes for the next day, she'd made some flapjack, she'd been busy. I always refer to she, but it could be he. They've been busy in the kitchen, always busy, busy, busy. It was a busy house around 5 o'clock. And so there's this expectation still, this feeling still inside that I need to be busy at 5 o'clock. So what time is my daughter coming home? To say to your mother, what do you mean when's your daughter coming home? I'm your daughter, Mum. I've got my own home with my own kids. I'm not coming home anymore. All that's going to do is make her feel silly. It's going to make her feel confused. It's going to make her feel anxious. So living in her dementia can make such a difference. So when she says to you, what time's my daughter coming home? You can say, oh, I don't know. But I tell you what we could do is we could put the oven on and start cooking some food, getting it ready for when everyone's back. I've told a little white lie there, haven't I? You need to start living in their dementia. And that might involve being creative with the truth. So we all used to say to our kids, well, I know many of us did, if you don't go to sleep, Father Christmas won't come with his presents. We knew that Father Christmas didn't exist, but we never really saw it as a lie, did we? We saw it as being creative, as being a fun time at Christmas. Think of it in a way with somebody with dementia, where tell them what they need to know. If you keep telling them that somebody's passed away, all they're going to do is mourn the loss of that person over and over and over again. So by saying when he says, "When's my wife coming back?" and you know that his wife died 10 years ago, rather than saying, "Oh, Fred, she died 10 years ago. We've been over this many, many times," which won't help him. You just say, "Oh, I'm not sure, but I'll tell you what, I wonder whether you can help me. I saw this amazing car today. It was red. I think it might have been a Ferrari. Now, I know you've got some books on your shelf of all those fancy fast cars. Could we have a look in one of those books to see whether or not I can find the picture of the car that I think I saw today?" You're distracting him from the fact that he's got a hang up about the fact that his wife's coming home, because it's possibly a time that he recognises as being a time when she used to come home. And you're diverting him onto a topic which he's got lots of knowledge about. "Oh, yes, I think I've got a book that might have that. Let's have a look." And then you can start a conversation about a topic that he really, really likes. I'm making it sound all very simple here and very straightforward. But if you start by not challenging, not asking questions, going along with the conversation that's coming from them and using their words, it'll make such a difference. The final thing that I want to suggest that you think about doing, more than you probably do at the moment, is to say sorry, is to apologise. So you might make an assumption, you might speak over them, something might happen, and you need to be saying to them, "Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry I upset you. I'm sorry I spoke over you. I'm sorry I didn't wait to get a response from you. I know you know far more than I do, and I'm really grateful for that." "Oh, well, as long as you realise that actually I do have knowledge of Ferraris more than you do." What you're doing is you're reducing that anxiety so that that person can live a happier life with dementia. And that's the most important thing, is recognising that you have to go into their world right now, their ever-changing world that starts off here but ends up there. And there's an awful lot that's going to go on between now and the end of that journey. And you have to be with them in their journey rather than asking them to come into your world. Their dementia is different to any other person's dementia. So what somebody is experiencing in this house would be very different to what somebody's experiencing in your house. So having peer support and learning from each other is a really good way of feeling that actually you're not alone, but understanding that where the damage in the brain is and what caused the damage can change the journey of somebody with dementia completely. I hope I've been helpful, and if you would like to come on one of our Understanding Dementia workshops, we go into quite a bit more detail about challenging behaviours, why somebody swears when they never used to swear, understanding why somebody is found out on the street at 2 o'clock in the morning, what's going on there, why does she sleep all day and is up all night, how do I understand what she's eating, or how can I get her to eat, why doesn't she want to change her clothes anymore, why won't she get in the shower, all those things that can be really hard if you're trying to help somebody live independently at home. So do please get in touch if you think that one of these Understanding Dementia workshops is right for you. They're completely free, and I look forward to seeing anybody who'd be interested in coming. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of this session, and all the best, Paula, and everybody. Take care. Bye.
quite a long title, but we get used to it after a while. I've been involved with KMHCF for 21 years now. The group was set up 21 years ago when a group of carers, mental health carers in the borough, felt that they needed a collective voice. They felt that they wanted to express their views and concerns about services, and individually they found that very difficult. So a group of carers at the time felt that it would be good if we all met together and sort of pooled our ideas of what would help to improve mainly the care for the person that we care for, clearly. Although this is a carers organisation, clearly most of our work actually concerns the person that we're caring for, because if the person we're caring for is well looked after and that their well-being is taken care of, then that eases the burden on each of us. The forum is actually run by mental health carers with lived experience, so we're quite unique in that. I don't know of another organisation anywhere, certainly not in South West London, that is run along those lines. But we are all volunteers. We come to it with our lived experience of providing unpaid care to somebody that we love. And when we use the phrase carers, the word carers, we actually embrace families and friends, because we realise that some people don't like the label carers. They don't regard themselves as a carer. They regard themselves as a parent or a sibling or whatever. So when we talk about carers, and clearly we have to have some kind of abbreviation in our title, otherwise our title would go on and on, the title of our organisation. So we use the word carers, but I must emphasise that that includes anybody providing unpaid care. So that's who we are. We serve anybody that has need and requires any advice and guidance. We also have a cohort of members who really have signed up to say that they want to be more involved than just casual. But our services are available to anybody. You don't have to be a member to receive our services.
I see. Amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, it seems to be like a very important mission that you have to support carers. If someone wanted to access your services, how would they have to do that? Do they need to go on your website?
They can certainly go onto our website. Our website contains a lot of information about what we do. Perhaps like most charities, we struggle to keep our website up to date. So I apologise in advance for that. However, it does tell you what our services are. In brief terms, our services include one-to-one support for individual carers. So anybody that calls us up and wants some advice, wants guidance about the services, wants guidance about their caring role, or just wants to talk about their situation, then we can deal with that on a one-to-one basis. We also offer a peer support group once a month, so that a group of people can come together, unfortunately on Zoom at the moment, but hopefully we'll resume in person sometime soon. Always much better when you're meeting face to face over a coffee. So typically our group would be a small number of people that meet over coffee and cake or biscuits and just talk about the kind of situation that they face. And because we are all carers, then we can all empathise with everybody's situation. We clearly recognise that each person's situation is unique in many ways. But there are a lot of common factors, and certainly the emotions that are stirred up in caring in this way are very common. we find that a lot of carers find themselves feeling very isolated because of the nature of mental illness. A lot of people find it uncomfortable to talk about it, which obviously we try to counter. We act very strongly in anti-stigmatizing mental illness. However, having said that, we do find a lot of people that are caring say they can't really talk to their wider family, they can't talk to neighbours because nobody really understands the situation they're facing. So they become very isolated in what they're facing. And so drawing people together as we do, that enables people to feel I'm not the only person in this situation. There's somebody else that will understand and will empathise with me. Now, that clearly doesn't mean that we have a magic wand and we can solve a situation necessarily, although we can offer assistance. But largely, it enables people to be able to express their feelings, to find that their feelings are shared by other people, and to find coping mechanisms from other people, and just generally feel, yes, okay, I've got a difficult situation, but I'm not alone in it, and we feel that's so important.
Yeah, it is really important to be able to connect with people going through the same thing as yourself. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm just looking, I don't think there's any comment on Facebook. I had another question, which was, so your services are open to carers. Do they need to be Kingston residents, or is it open to neighbouring boroughs or things like that?
Okay, that's a good question. We are Kingston focused, and so if you like, our expertise is within Kingston. So we understand the services in Kingston. We have very good relationships with service providers in Kingston. So health trusts, GP groups, social services, etc., and other parts of the voluntary sector. We have very good relationships with all of those, and we understand Kingston. Having said that, if anybody phones us up, then we will give advice and guidance as best we can. And this happens fairly often. We get people phone up from neighbouring boroughs, and wherever we can, clearly we aim to signpost people to appropriate support in their own boroughs. But as many people will know, Kingston is, in terms of mental health services, Kingston is part of South West London Group, which consists of 6 boroughs. And in secondary care services, these are all provided by one provider, South West London and St George's Trust. So the services that we address in Kingston are fairly common amongst those 6 boroughs. There are slight differences because funding between different boroughs varies. Clearly, social services are different in each borough, but generally speaking, there's a lot of commonality between the services that the other boroughs in South West London face, the same as Kingston. So we have that advantage, if you like, that when we talk to Health Trust, we're talking from the point of view of people that use the services, understand the services, and so we can guide people appropriately if they're in Kingston or if they're in South West London, really. But sorry, just going back to your original question, if anybody calls us from outside the borough, then we wouldn't refuse to help them. We wouldn't immediately say, no, you've come through to the wrong place. We will do our best to give advice and guidance and signpost them to appropriate things. And very often this means after the phone call, then we search out appropriate services in other areas, and then we can forward those on to the inquirer. So we do our very best to help people that are struggling in some way.
Thank you. Yeah, because that's a big element of signposting as well as support within your organization, I have a feel. Yeah. Okay, I still don't see any questions on the Facebook page.
Okay.
Do you want to add anything before we
Yeah,
finish the session?
in terms of people contacting us, we mentioned the website. That is probably the easiest way for people to contact us. That will obviously give our email address. It's also got a lot of information about our history, why we were set up, the kind of things that we do. We also have a Facebook page. We have a LinkedIn page. We're not on Twitter yet, but we're aiming for that one day. And we get referrals from the health services and from GPs and from faith organisations, schools occasionally. So we're actually in contact with as many complementary services within the borough as we can. So a lot of services know about us and so can refer people to us. And that clearly works two ways. I mean, if we hear of a local, let's say a faith organisation that's running a course about mental health, then obviously we can refer people to that. So there's a lot of interchange of assistance provided to the inquirer. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Alan. That was really, really interesting and insightful. Yes, if we have any questions after the live, I will just send them to you by email, and if you're happy to reply, and people should see the link to your website and email address. So yes, thank you so much, and yeah, see you soon for new adventures.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi there, my name is Pippa and I work for the charity Voices of Hope. We are based in Kingston and we were founded initially pre-pandemic. It was just my director, Sarah Clay, and she was running community choirs. So she was running a gospel choir, one for just women, the streetwise choir, some kids choirs, some other community choirs. And as the pandemic hit, she had the ability and the support network to be able to create something around food provision for the local community. So we started providing meals, frozen meals, for people in the community who didn't have their support system currently because of lockdown and family not being around. At one point we were producing around 1,800 meals a week. So it really took off quite significantly. So as we were doing that, we kind of looked at, well, how can we work in the local community and pivot well again for our community as we go on? Because there is no point doing the same thing, In COVID, we couldn't run choirs. It wasn't an ideal situation. So we thought, well, how can we affect the community best? And that's how the Food Hub came about. And so as we move forward, we started looking at how do we do that again with multiple other projects, and that's what I'm going to explain to you now. So as I mentioned, we run several choirs, and as the pandemic has eased slightly, we have been able to start some of those again. We do a lot of work around elderly and care homes, so we have some residential care homes that we work in. We also run some community choirs linked with the Kingston University, and we also run a ladies' choir called the Sisterhood Choir. And all of these choirs have been able to perform over the Christmas period at Wisley, in the John Lewis, just out in the square. And that's been really encouraging for people to be able to do that again. Choirs are such a source of community spirit, and I don't think people always realise how important a choir can be for people who maybe aren't able to do anything else physically. It's really good for your mental health, and as my director Sarah says, anyone can sing, so we will take anyone. There is no audition, there is no need to be able to read music. We teach everything, and we love doing that for our community. Through choirs, we actually also started a project called the Active Breathing course, which we have rolled out through Kingston, but it's also spreading wider, and that is through our experiences as staff, but also seeing clients, volunteers, and just our friends and family going through long COVID and other respiratory illnesses. And so the whole aim behind the course is to improve lung capacity, helping breathing through your diaphragm. And we have had huge success in this project, amazing feedback from people. We constantly get just people saying, you know, it's improved my life in a way that I didn't really expect it to. Because I think when you live with a chronic illness like a respiratory condition that really impacts your everyday life, it's very easy to accept that that's what your life will be like from now on. And so seeing people being able to blow up a balloon for the first time, or meeting other people who have the same kind of problems in their lungs as they do and feeling supported, even that is such a strength builder for people, let alone the actual physical improvements that we've seen in people. We've now had over 250 referrals to the course, and around 60% of our referrals come from Kingston Hospital, which is just incredibly encouraging. So we are excited to carry that project on in linking with our choir projects as well. So we also run a variety of food projects in Kingston Borough, but also in Richmond, Elmbridge and in Southwark, which have kind of started since we started in Kingston. One of these projects is called Bright Box. It's a family meal kit for roughly a family of 5, and we work through schools and youth groups to provide these boxes to families who really need them. So we work across the borough, and particularly with Achieving for Children, and we've seen just such incredible results from this. Families absolutely loving it. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't. I would love to receive these boxes. They always have pre-prepared ingredients in them, weighed out, ready for you to go. We've got a variety of meals. We've done things like fish pie, chili con carne. We do veggie options. We never use pork, just to make sure that we can be as friendly towards everyone as possible. And the people who have received these boxes just seem to have an absolute whale of a time. We have heard of children trying foods who've been really sceptical and scared of trying foods for the first time. We've heard of families cooking together more, learning new skills, eating new foods, and creating these kind of recipe packs from their favourites and being able to do those over and over again. So really the aim is to introduce people to foods and then them carry on making them. Families are in the project for about a year, and then they graduate from the Bright Box course with all their new skills. So that's a fantastic project that we love running and we want to expand further. So we also run another food project called the Good Food Co-op. This is a fruit and veg box service running in the Kingston Borough, and we provide fruit and veg boxes, does what it says on the tin, but all profits go back into subsidising boxes for people on low income who might not usually be able to afford this kind of fruit and veg. So say I would get a box for £12–15 of fruit and veg, we would provide that for about £3 to somebody in our local community. So it's got a great social impact. If you just buy kind of normal box, then you will be subsidising a family who can also buy a normal box and really be supporting your local community. So we're really hoping that that project grows and expands this year. We're wanting that to become more of a community environment. Obviously COVID has meant that we haven't been able to do that very much, but we would love to have community meals, using the fruit and veg that you've got in your boxes. We would love to be able to have kind of more community style events, and we also provide recipes in these boxes. So this is something that we would be really excited to see grow this year, as well as more and more people being involved, volunteering, and just generally coming on board with that. Our third strand of our work is our women's work, and we have been supporting women especially since the kind of beginnings of our charity. We ran the Sisterhood Choir, and we also ran the Sisterhood Sanctuary, which is a safe space for women of all places and backgrounds, and wherever you come from, you can come to the Sisterhood Sanctuary. So that's been trying to continue through COVID, but now we're really back to where we were before. We've grown quite a lot, so we have about 30 women at the choir and about 45 women at the Sisterhood Sanctuary, and we just love having all those ladies here. We have a pamper zone, a creative zone, and a relax zone. So you can come, you can have a chat, have a cuppa, read a magazine, you can get a hand massage, have your nails done, and also the whole creative section. There's this week we did needle felting, doing some hearts, but we've done loads of other bits and pieces before, and it's all really about loving yourself, loving others, and just being kind to yourself, and that's really what we focus on as Sisterhood, is taking care of you. And so through Sisterhood we also started looking at, well, how can we grow in our women's work? And so we started talking to Refuge and the council, and we have now formed the Kingston Women's Hub, which is an umbrella for multiple organisations, those I've mentioned, and also a couple of others, including True Honour, which is an honour-based violence charity, and CAP, Christians Against Poverty. And so our real aim behind the Women's Hub is, if you are coming out of domestic abuse, violence, if you're in financial constraints, if you're not really sure where to go next, the Women's Hub is really a place for you to come and get kind of any advice. So we provide childcare. On a Monday we have the one-stop shop, which provides financial advice, legal advice. We also have the Caris team, which we run, which is a peer mentoring service for women coming out of domestic abuse. And the idea behind that is that you just come to one place and you get all of your questions answered and support through everything. So often if you've been going through domestic abuse, you might be in a whole new area because you've come out of it and now you've moved somewhere else and you don't really know where anything is. So we will help with finding a GP, finding the best school for your kids. It's just really what to some people seems like really simple things, actually can be a real strain if you've been through something like domestic abuse, and you just need someone to come alongside you and support you. And that is really what the Women's Hub and the whole kind of strand of our women's work is about supporting each other and really loving yourself and taking care of yourself. So I'm aware that's probably a lot of information to throw at everyone, but that is who Voices of Hope is. So we run lots of projects, but all of them really focused on community, on making people feel loved, feel special, feel cared for. We don't want anyone to feel like they're getting charity. We want people to feel like they're working with us together, and we love working with our local community. It's been such a fantastic experience so far. We work with loads of other organisations in the area, and we are excited to carry on with that in the future.
Hi Tom, thank you for being there today to talk about the Mulberry Centre.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm delighted to speak to you all about the Mulberry Centre. So I'll just talk about the services we offer and what we do. So I'll start with my slides. So the Mulberry Centre, we're a cancer information support service. That's the front of our building. I can't promise that the garden looks like this at the moment, but when summer comes, if it ever comes, it will be in full bloom and looks absolutely lovely. the bins are just off to our left here. You can't see those. For some reason, they kept those out of the shop, but it is quite a nice centre. And as part of these slides, we'll go into the centre and actually just have a look around. I'll talk about what we do, but I'll also talk about what you'll see when you walk in there and where we do what we do. So hopefully, I'll really give you a sense of what it'll be like if you ever come and visit us. So we're open from 10 to 4 Mondays to Fridays. We used to open late nights on Thursdays. We're hoping to go back to that, but to be perfectly frank, since lockdown, obviously we weren't open. We were open behind the scenes, but we weren't open to people coming to visit us. But since lockdown, there's really been not a great need for people to come late nights on the Thursdays. If that need presents itself, then of course we will re-offer that, open that service back up again. So I'm going to try not to read the from the slides, because I think you can all read. I hope so. I will just say though that we're a cancer information support service, and we're here to support people, anyone affected by cancer, and that means the person who's been diagnosed with cancer, their carer, their family, their friends, or anyone who's been bereaved if the bereavement is due to cancer. We do have a separate offering that's only for those people who live or work in Hounslow, but I'll talk about that shortly. So this sort of gives you an idea of what we're trying to offer to people. So I should say, and it may or may not be, it may not be necessary at all, but we don't actually give any cancer treatment. We're there just to support people, to give them information and support them in their journey through cancer. Here we go. So we provide practical and emotional support to all those classes of people. This is our second offering. We can help anyone who lives or works in Hounslow or who has recently been treated at West Middlesex Hospital. Our centre is in the grounds of the West Middlesex Hospital. It's a really nice little centre. We've got that great hospital just next to us. So if people come in there for treatment and then need to come and see us, they're eligible for our services. But this is for people, this is not for people who've got cancer. This is for people who have end-of-life diagnoses. So if they've been told that they're going to die from their illness, I think it's within 12 months. It might be 6 months. I can't remember exactly. Then they can come and they are eligible to access our services. So that's for anyone who has an end-of-life diagnosis or who have recently been bereaved. So if someone has passed away in the West Middlesex Hospital, or someone has passed away and you live or you work in Hounslow, then you would be eligible to access our services along with all our cancer offering, as I explained before. So I hope that's clear. It's something I don't often explain that well, but hopefully I've managed it this time. So if you walked into our centre, what would you see? Well, you'd walk into the view on the top left. That's our reception area. It's a bit bigger than that, but this is the main part. So we have tea and coffee making facilities just out of shot. We have comfortable chairs. Obviously, we have COVID restrictions, and these pictures were taken in pre-COVID times, if you can imagine it. But we have more seating available because people can't sit so close, and we are very conscious that a lot of the people who use our service have cancer at the moment, and they have quite a substantial reduction in their immune system due to the treatment they're getting. So we have all the necessary COVID protocols in place. If you were actually in our centre now, you would see lots and lots and lots of hand washing stations, lots of gel dispensers. You would see signs on various seats saying you can't sit here to ensure there's suitable distancing, but this gives you a sense of it. On the right is our garden. I personally feel that one of the best things we offer is our garden. For those of you who know the West Middlesex Hospital, it's quite a concrete heavy hospital, which is no criticism at all. I think most hospitals are, but our garden offers an oasis of calm, a place where people can just go and relax. And funny enough, during the lockdown, we had a lot of the nurses come over from the West Mid, and we were very happy to let them go and sit in our garden and have their lunch or just relax. It is a very relaxing place. So, if you want to come in, you can grab a cup of coffee in our reception area, walk in, or tea. You can walk into the back garden and it's a very peaceful place. Apart from we are on the flight path of Hounslow, so you have to put up with the jumbo jets flying overhead, but they don't come too regularly. So the bottom left are our treatment rooms. So during lockdown, we had these extremely nice pictures put up, they're like wallpaper. So they're shown on the left of the two pictures there. You know, they just look a bit. They're pictures of the season. So we have spring, summer and autumn. We didn't really like winter, I don't think so, or we didn't have enough rooms. It's one or the other. So yes, so that's what our treatment rooms look like. That's where we do our reflexology, our massage, those aromatherapy, those sorts of treatments. So they're in there. So they're very, very well appointed. We are very lucky. Our centre is purpose built for our needs. So it has exactly what we need and has everything we need. So what do we do? So this is sort of a brief run through of what we do. It's not everything, but it is quite a lot of things. So we do counselling. We offer counselling. We offer a one-to-one counselling. We have a number of support groups, which I actually list on another slide. And so, yes, that's the counselling we offer. Basically, you can access any of these. Complementary therapies. These are just a small selection of what we did. These slides have been updated, but obviously things are changing at the moment. We're trying to offer what's called a blended offering, a mixture of direct face-to-face consultations, and for complementary therapies, that's really important. I've done remote massage, I think, and remote Reiki, and honestly, I'm hopeless. They're really useful, but they're obviously not the same as a face-to-face thing. So we offer face-to-face now. We can offer quite a few appointments for that, but we do some things on Zoom, or we even telephone some clients. They find it easier to do this. It's very much whatever the user needs, we can accommodate usually. So we offer these complementary therapies. We also offer, and there you go, as Zoom classes, we offer these three things. I think actually all of them are or are close to being offered in the centre. We've got a couple of the volunteers who run these classes. They took some time off at the end of the lockdowns, but they're just about to come back, I think. So most of these classes are up and running in the centre. But I think for those people who are a bit nervous of coming out, we still can accommodate people who would rather do things by Zoom. And the ultimate goal, and I think it's the goal of many charities, is to be able to offer things by Zoom or face-to-face at the same time. And I think with some of our classes, we can already do that. But I mean, personally, I think that would be the best of both worlds. So these are the support groups we offer. We offer three main ones, which are patient care and bereavement. It says that the following support groups are on a brief hiatus. I have heard that the men's group is expected to be back up and running as from March. The Younger Women with Cancer group, I'm not entirely sure. It started, it then went on a pause, but we're hoping to get that started back up again. So they're small support groups. It's sort of in lieu or in addition to the one-to-one counselling we're offering. That's the sort of intention behind it. We also offer all this general ongoing support. It's really the informative workshops and the social and creative activities that we can concentrate on here. We also offer information and welfare benefits advice. We have a large and well-stocked library full of leaflets on pretty much every cancer. Obviously, part of our funding comes from Macmillan. They're extremely generous and they fund a number of our posts. We also take an awful lot of their leaflets because they do excellent leaflets. And, it means we don't have to do it and we can still offer the information. So we have a lot of leaflets. You can take away a whole bag full, to be honest. And then on the right, there's how we generally all feel when we have to deal, if we have to deal with welfare benefits. It is a minefield. It's a very complicated situation. We have someone who can help you with that, and someone who you can talk to make your way through that. Then we have my part, which is going into the community, providing information. That should be information roadshows and health awareness talks, such as this one, and talks about sort of what we do. So you may see in the middle there's someone in a suit with a mask over their face. You may recognize that's me. So that was a talk I was able to give to some local nurses just about what we do. On the bottom right, there's one of our the stalls we regularly take. are in the local community, things like St Margaret's Fair, Felton Fair, those kind of things. We've done a few of those. As it started to open up, we've been able to do more and more, and they're really good fun and give us a great opportunity to connect with our local community. One thing I must emphasize is all of our services are free. Now, when I say that, I sometimes think, well, everyone will be thinking, oh, there's got to be a catch. I'll tell you what the catch is later on, and I'll give you a clue. It's that we use a lot of volunteers, and we also do a lot of fundraising. When you sign up for us, no one will approach you for money. All of our to cover our services. All of our services are genuinely free. And the no postcode boundaries thing means it doesn't matter where you live or where you're being treated. We can help. If you, with the advent of Zoom, we were helping people in all parts of the country. If you can get here even virtually, we can help you and you can register. So there are some things, as I say, that are being offered mainly face-to-face, and this is part of the whole consideration of having a blended setup. But yeah, if you can get here, and if we're offering it via Zoom, if you can get here, you can access any of our services. If you want to access a service that's via Zoom, then it really doesn't matter where you live. I can't emphasize that enough. I think that's pretty obvious, really. We really do offer everything free. And how do we do this? Well, we have a number of volunteers. I think the last count was 170 volunteers, and there's some of them on the screen there. We have volunteer gardeners, our counsellors are volunteers, obviously our therapists, and most of them are volunteers. I don't need to read the list. You can all read it there, but yeah, we have a lot of volunteers. Here's us blowing our trumpet, I should say. We've been very lucky enough to win a number of awards recently. Macmillan Service Team of the Award 2020, that was for our complementary therapies team. We also won the Queen's Award for voluntary services in 2021, and that was a special award with a mention for the work we did and our volunteers did during the COVID lockdowns. And we were delighted to win all of these awards, but I think particularly the Queen's Award. We also, as I was told on the day, I then went and met the leader of Hounslow Council, which was a nice surprise, and gave a presentation in front of him. We were named Hounslow Council's Charity or Social Enterprise of the Year for last year. So that was a nice surprise, and it was lovely. So how do we provide all the support for free? Well, I think I mentioned it earlier, it's fundraising, and it's all with your help. We have teams of fundraisers who go out into the community, who approach local businesses, who set up events, and all to raise money so that we can provide everything for free. And it really is important to us to get that message across, that if you have cancer or you're supporting someone who has cancer, you will not be asked to pay for the support we can give you. Some of the things we go around and do, we're very lucky. We have a number of connections with local schools, and we have those come in. They're really good. I was talking to a school. I was giving a presentation to a school recently, and it was a primary school, and the kids there were very engaged with it, and they were all really good fun. Those sort of events are a lot of fun. So that's the end of me. That's a whistle-stop tour through what the Mulberry Centre does. Are there any questions?
Well, I suppose if there's any question, people can ask them on the Facebook comments, and I will send them to you.
Yeah.
So how can people contact you? I suppose just your website will be the first point of entry?
There are a number of ways they can contact us, absolutely through our website. They can also email us, and the email address to email is on the website, but it's talk@themulberrycentre.co.uk, or they can telephone us. The number is, he says, panicking slightly, 020 8321 6300. I think that's on the website as well. Thank goodness for that website. But you'll talk to someone. If you email us, someone will see your message and call you back and sort of talk through. Would it help if I sort of talk through the process when people do get in touch, exactly what happens?
Oh yeah, please do. That would be really, really interesting. Thank you.
Okay, well, what will happen is, as I say, if you, let's say you email into the centre, that email will be picked up by probably by a member of our reception staff. They will then give you a call, just say, we've got your email, and someone will be in touch soon, just to establish contact, check that they've got the right number, all that sort of thing. They will then pass your details over to someone called a CISA, Cancer Information Support Assistant. And they are specially trained to assist in this situation. They will phone you up. They will talk through the issues you're having, talk through the particular difficulties you're experiencing, and whether you have an idea of what you think might be helpful, whether you really just want complementary therapies, whether you want to access our workshops, that sort of thing. And they'll talk to you about whether you're a patient, whether you've got cancer, whether you're a carer, whether you're a family friend or a relative of the person with cancer. And they'll just talk through the whole process with you. They'll then explain what's going to happen. They will suggest certain things directed to what you might need. If you say, I'd like to access counselling, that would be really helpful for me. Of course, they'll start to talk to you about counselling. They will probably also say, well, we do have support groups as well, that might be helpful. So but it's very much a tailored approach to whatever might work for the person. And if they say, no, I don't want anything else, that's absolutely fine. So then if it's relevant, they'll sort of book you some sessions with the counsellor, book you on to the first session of your complementary therapy, and that's often done on the telephone, but it's also quite often done by people often walk into, they just drop in. Often when there's been a clinic at the West Middlesex, they'll send them over and they'll come over and, they'll sit them down, get them a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and just talk them through the process. So I think it's quite a gentle introduction to what's going on and what we can help with. And then, the sort of the last bit, as it were, will be about telling them exactly how they can access the service and how it's all going to look and how it's going to work.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I think that's a really great resource to have locally, and I find it absolutely incredible that you managed to offer all of your services for free. It's really, it's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned that enough when I was going through the slides. No, I am super keen to tell everyone, and it is genuinely for free. So, absolutely.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Well, I don't know if you want to add anything.
I don't think so. I think I covered most things.
Well, amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. So, sorry. If anyone has any questions, they can just comment on the Facebook post, and then I will liaise. Or if you want to go directly on the website, there will also be a link in the Facebook comments. Thank you so much, Tom, for being there today. It was a really interesting, important presentation. So I really hope it will help people.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Marion. Thanks for the opportunity of doing it. What I should say is, if you do have a particular question, by all means, call us up or email us, ask it. Someone will get back to you and answer it, and then you can make your decisions depending on that answer. But thanks so much for the opportunity, Marion.
Well, thank you for coming. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Hello, my name is Daniel Sullivan, and I am the Business Engagement and Employment Officer here at Workmatch. Today, I'd like to talk to you a bit about our program, our services, and how we support local people into local jobs. So what I'd like to do is go into a presentation where I'll be walking you through the steps of our program, our services, and how we support. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So, Kingston Workmatch, delivering a high-quality recruitment service. Yeah, okay. And I will go straight into the agenda, which is the introduction to Kingston Workmatch. Then we'll be talking about the registration process. Then we'll be going into training, e-learning, and I'll be talking about our auction house, which is basically about our vacancies. Okay. Now, introduction to Kingston Workmatch. Now, as you can clearly see, through our mission, we offer local businesses and residents a high-quality recruitment and employment service at no cost by raising the aspirations of local people to access sustainable local jobs and training opportunities. So that's our mission here at Workmatch. But our vision, as I'll explain, is to become the recruitment service of choice for businesses of Wandsworth and associated boroughs we serve, creating economic prosperity for every local resident using our services. And just to talk about our story, where we come from, initially established in 2013 by Richmond and Wandsworth Council, our services are offered by Kingston Council to support local residents into local jobs. Due to the programme's success in 2 boroughs, Kingston Council launched Kingston Workmatch in January 2021. Now, you'll see our services down there. So basically, what do we do here? Our services, we help residents that are living within the Kingston borough. We support them into sustainable full-time or part-time employment. The way that this is particularly done is we are employer-led, so we go out to the community, speak to what we call SMEs, small to medium employers, as well as stakeholders and large institutions, and we find out what their niche is within their sector, or what type of vacancies they may be looking to recruit for. Once we have established the vacancy, we then put those vacancies on our portal and we advertise those vacancies across the borough at all. And then once you have completed the registration, you then get access to those vacancies and you are able to apply for those vacancies. Also as well, you're designated an advisor. Now, as you can see, if you look to your right hand side, just under where you see our core values here, which I think is quite integral for people to see and to envision, and to have this same like-mindedness within a team. You'll see the team members who will be supporting you throughout your journey while here at Kingston. So you'll have Connor, you have myself, Daniel, and then you have our manager, Simi. So if you see a vacancy, you can contact us, let us know what particular vacancy you saw on the portal, and we can support you not only to apply for that vacancy with our employment services such as CV development, interview techniques, advice and guidance, and offering support with barriers, but also we can actually particularly speak to the person in charge of the vacancy and really advertise your skills and experiences and see whether they match what that particular employer is looking for at all. So a really good service there. Not only do we talk to employers and get the vacancies on board, but we also provide employment service support, whereby we're helping yourselves with, as I mentioned, CVs, interview techniques, advice and guidance, and just general anything around employment, really. Yes. Moving on to the next slide. Registration process. So I basically mentioned a bit about that before. So let's go over the requirements. So you've heard about the Kingston Workmatch program and you'd like to register. What are the eligibility criteria of the program? Well, as a foremost, residents of you have to be a resident of the Kingston upon Thames borough. And so you must live within the area, and you also must have the right to work in the UK. Those are particularly the 2 requirements we ask for, just to be eligible. Now, in order for you to register, you would need to provide evidence of these two factors. So usually what residents do when it comes to proving that they live within the borough, a bank statement or a utility bill within the last 3 months would be suffice. And then with the right to work documentations, now this is it differs between people's different circumstances there at all. So you have to particularly find out which one is tailored for you. So for example, it could be a passport, or it could be an EU share code, or it could be documentation. So it really does depend on your particular circumstances there at all. And we're happy to help you in that area if that is something that you'd like supporting. Now you would need to provide proof of both of these documentations in order to complete the registration. So ideally we would like for that to be uploaded or sort of just before we do the registrations, but we're going to get into that right now. So this is just the eligibility criteria to utilize the service. Now the processes I was talking about earlier. So the processes. So you'll see first and foremost portal registration. You'll see number 1, portal registration on kingstonworkmatch.org. So I'll show you the website towards the tail end of the actual program or the actual presentation. But basically you will be on there and you'll get to register with your name and your email account and setting up a basic account on the portal. Once you have set up your basic account on your portal, KWM, which is the Kingston Workmatch admin team, will welcome you within the 24 hours via an email. Once that has been done, you are then put through our systems and you are sent on to myself, Connor or Simi, which is number 3 here, which is the KWM officer accepts referral from admin team within the next 24 hours. So once we have gone through those acceptances, it is then for the Kingston Workmatch officer, number 4, contact you to organize a registration. So we can then contact you either via telephone, definitely via email, just to give you a date and time or suggest a date and time for you to attend, telephone and a text also as well. I would just like to point out that sometimes some of our emails do get into people's junk mails. Unfortunately, there isn't much we can do about it in regards to sending it through to yourselves. So what we would do, we'd normally send a text or a phone call. So please keep an eye out once you have registered on the portal for any emails that may pop up in your junk regarding registrations. Okay, so moving on to number 5, you will see now once you have been sent those invitations to attend the registration, 9 times out of 10 it would normally be a telephone appointment, but we do have a one-to-one appointments, but that is subject to availability. So once you have confirmed the date and time to get registered, you'll attend the registration. As you can see, number 5, online, phone or in person, as I mentioned. And number 6, you will go through the registration process with myself or Simi or Connor, and you will discuss your requirements. That's all we really get into the nuts and bolts, as I like to call it, in regards to skills, experiences, your particular circumstances, i.e. if you're working part-time, full-time, or anything else around employment or getting something to work, and we will provide support in that area. I really just talk to you about how the service can best be a bespoke service for yourself, and I think that's really important that we do provide a bespoke service for individuals, as I said, because this is a voluntary program. And moving on to number 7, you are fully registered now and have access to jobs and the training opportunities. So training, we will be talking about that. And so as well, but at the moment, this is the we've covered the eligibility and the registration process at all. So once you have completed both, we can then start utilizing the service. Yeah. So and the first part of the Workmatch program I like to talk about is the training and what types of training we have on offer for yourself at all. So, as you can see here, there is a list of training opportunities Our training programs are free for residents of Kingston upon Thames. Now that's the really good thing. Everything we support you with, everything that we offer will be absolutely free to yourself. That is a good start right there. Now, I won't go into too much detail on every single program that is listed here, but I just wanted to let you know that these come out quite periodically throughout the month, in regards to being available to do I say e-learning, but you'll be learning from home with these particular programs. Some of them may have to come into a college depending on the particular course, but 9 times out of 10 you will probably be doing this via Teams or via Zoom or any other social media platform that is available. You will be contacted once you have allowed us to put you forward for one of these, or if you've asked to be put forward for one of these, one of our colleagues will contact you to give you the details of the particular program. So you'll have the options of a career transitional program, which you'll see on the left hand here as well. You also have access to Room for Work program and the digital employment program. The digital employment program has been quite successful in the past few months. You will clearly see here the differences. You can read through as I speak to let you know the benefits of each individual program and what you really can get, from each program there. I particularly feel that all these programs are absolutely brilliant. Each client that I have put forward, and at the end of these programs, they have been, I like to call it, the tools have been sharpened, so to speak, when it comes to actively job searching, looking and targeting employers of what you're looking for, also is all the skills that you need to now actively look for work in today's market, knowing a bit more about the particular sectors that they're looking to work into. So there's so many benefits to working or to actually completing these programs that you see here as well, and a lot of these can upskill yourself when it comes to utilizing ICT skills, or utilizing, or just even knowing about where to look for different vacancies pertaining what particular industry you want to go into. So I really do feel career transitional program, Room for Work, digital employment programs are really good for supporting you to getting yourself back into employment and just sharpening your skills, giving you that confidence or even learning new skills at all. So yeah, that's the main bulk of these three. Now these ones here are normally for these are catered more around construction, or as you can see here, a security guard license. And after these programs, you particularly will get a qualification afterwards. So security guard license, you'll be obtaining a security license in that clearly, and we have gone a bit too far. Okay, back to here. Thank you so much. Wonderful. So yes, and then here you have this here says training experienced workers return, fully funded building and construction course. Once again, you'll get qualifications in these three I've mentioned. IT skills for employment, which is absolutely excellent. Not necessarily a qualification, but anyone who wants to upskill themselves in that particular area, which is IT for employment, that is absolutely excellent. And then underneath there, you have a convoy community that is basically supporting you while you job search. That is excellent as well. And pathway to construction for newcomers. That is with obviously a CSCS card also as well. So some really good training opportunities that you see here. You can clearly ask myself or any of my colleagues for more information about these programs, and we'll be happy to assist you in this area. So yeah. Great opportunities there. So what I'd like to now talk about is the e-learning platform. So now this is a bit different. I guess the last one I was talking about is those will be particular dates that you'd have to attend from until, and they will start at particular times. So for example, you could have another one starting on the 26th of January. That could easily last for 2 weeks, and it could ask you to attend from 9:30 till, or maybe from 10 till 3, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. So that would be in regards to the training opportunities. With the e-learning now, this is totally done in the comfort of your own home and as and when you can. So the e-learning, what is this? We have a new platform. It's called the Career Centre. Once you are registered onto the program, you have exclusive rights to this particular Career Centre. If you're not registered, you will not have access to this because this is tailor-made in particular for our residents within the borough. So this is just a clear screen or screenshot of what it looks like here, but I'd really like to go to town and maybe see if we can have a look at the actual live portal. So this is my login, as you can see. Welcome, Daniel. And you'll be given a login details once you've registered and agreed that you want to have access to the Career Centre. And then what you'll see here, always here, 7 tips to speed up your job search. So you will have these small little posters or bullet points going past, just giving you knowledge and letting you know what's happening within this Career Centre portal. So as we go down, you'll see that you have Welcome Daniel, you'll see your progress and the things that you've been doing here. And then as you further go down, you'll see options of what you can do. Now, the main parts I wanted to talk about is CV Checker, Interview Simulator. Aptitude test and career assessments are absolutely wonderful as well. So we'll talk about the Career Checker first. So one of the most important things here at the work program at the Career Centre is here is basically knowing how to develop your CV. Here at Workmatch, we do particularly ask for you to have a CV so we can actually advertise your CV to potential employers who are looking for people in your field. Obviously, GDPR, we don't share any names and so forth as well, but we do provide a reverse job brokerage whereby when people come to our service, if we don't have the vacancy on hand, we then go out to employers. So CV is quite important. Also as well is when we want to put you forward for particular roles, your CV is naturally the first thing we will send to our employers. So what you'll see here is a CV session, and the really good thing about here is that you can actually either read through the information or watch a video, whichever best way you learn, you can utilize. And then you would literally come to start here. Now, this is where I talk about the actual program here. Now, it uses a really sophisticated algorithm to really go through your CV and give you suggestions on what differences you can make. Now, as we know, CV is a living document, so no two CVs will be the same. And you can always have different versions and different types of CVs, a targeted CV, a speculative CV, all different types that you can have. So yeah, and if you don't have a CV, it supports you here also as well. So really good tool to utilize as well is a CV 360. Now, the next one I wanted to talk about, which I think is fundamental to everybody who is searching, is an interview simulator. So what this does is, as I said, it gives you different ways of learning, whether it be visually through videos or maybe you learn through reading. This can give you the different options depending on the best way you learn. Also as well, it gives you all different types of ways to conduct your interview, different formulas, different ways to communicate. For example, some people like to use the STAR formula, which is situation, task, action, result. But there are, as you can see here, there are all 11 interview types that you need to know about that you can talk. For example, you could have a panel whereby you're talking to 3 different people, or you could be a more of a one-to-one situation. It could be a face-to-face interview. It could be a remote interview via Teams or another social outlet. So, you know, it's really interesting for you to find out different ways different ways you can conduct a interview, and it really just depends on the style or the actual culture of that particular company. I.e., if it is a big corporation, or maybe a small run family business. Different ways to approach an interview. And also as well, if you want to get up to date information on whatever sector that you're particularly looking for, you can go into more depth. You can type information here. You can have a look through, filter by category, online interview tips, preparations, research, speech and body language, types of interviews. It really does try to cater for all your needs when it comes to interviewing. So those two things here, interview 360 and CV 360 are absolutely brilliant for you to use. You do have things here like an aptitude test and a career assessments, and these are really good for developing or identifying your skills and experiences that you've had, and how you can sell those within an interview, or market those in an interview, I should say. You have that, and also as well with the career assessment, also as well, really learning what kind of core skills that you had, or what strengths you had while you was working in your previous role, or maybe your transferable skills that you can bring to the table. So this career center is absolutely brilliant, and I personally feel it's an integral part of your journey once you come here at Workmatch. As I said, for example, interview simulator, it doesn't matter if you're employed, if you're unemployed, if you went for an interview last week, or if you haven't got an interview for the last 5 years. It's about always kind of testing yourself on different types of questions, like tell me about your weaknesses, explain maybe the gap in your CV, or maybe explain different avenues, or explain or go into depth about particular parts of your career. So it's a really good portal or program to use here. So absolutely brilliant. Okay, so this is the career center. Okay. Right. Oh, what I'd now like to talk to you about is the auction house. So what we'll go into here is basically just talking about the types of vacancies that we have. I'm just gonna kind of showing you the portal that we have here at Workmatch. So I'm literally going to type in the information in the search engine now, so then we can have a look at the website. So you'll say Kingston. That is wonderful. So this is our portal. So once you want to register, and this first thing I spoke about is register with Workmatch. You'll get information here. Register with Workmatch. Don't get registered. You go to here and you fill in the information, and then that's where it gets pinned straight to our admin team, who then pin it straight to us, and we'll get in contact with you. So that's how the actually starts. But we are here for auctions, aren't we? The auction. So vacancies. Now we do pride ourselves on this particular part here. We speak to employers constantly, as we are employer led. So everybody who registers with us, we will say to keep an eye on the vacancies that we have here. I just want to give you an example of what we have currently. So obviously this is updated on a daily basis. So me showing you today doesn't mean it will be available as when you see it, but rest assured we will have similar vacancies on here. So just to give an example, this is a taster. So as you can see, you'll see the vacancy we have. We show you in the proximity of where the particular place you'll be working. You can type in your postcode here, and it can show you how long it will take you to get to your workplace. Now, because we work with solely Kingston employers, rest assured that any vacancies that we have in regards to the Kingston team, it would be within the Kingston area. We also do have the same team within Wandsworth and Richmond. So if you are comfortable with working in those particular areas as well, you can also have a search on this website, and I will show you that in a minute also as well. So let's just quickly go through this vacancy. So you see here the name of the vacancy, you'll see the vacancy type, which is a permanent full-time role. Really important is the reference number. So this is really important for us. So if you see any vacancies you're interested in, as well as you applying for it, write down the reference number, and then when you speak to your advisor, you can also inform us, let us know this is the vacancy you've applied for. So then we can maybe find out more information about the vacancy. You'll see here form of employment. So full-time again, you'll see the salary range, hours not specified at the moment until, and then you'll have the when it was originally published, and then important, when is the closing date. I will say yes, this is the closing date, the 13th of February, but as soon as you see the vacancy, I will say apply for that role at all. So you'll see that clear information here, and then you'll see a description and that may be talking a little bit about what the company does, what they're looking for, what their aims are. Then you go into what particular day-to-day duties you'll be having, and then you'll go into the essential criteria. If you feel you pass all of those particular, or you match those particular aspects of the role, you'll go on to how to apply. If you're interested, please submit your CV for consideration. So then where do you do that? You see this button here, and then you press, if you press apply, it would ask me to log in. But initially, once you press apply, it will then put your CV forward for the role, highlighting this to the person in charge of the role. So this is the vacancy that you see, and you can go back. Okay, what's really good about this actual particular portal here is that you can filter your opportunities. So for example, if I type in care, and then you have care work that has come up more recent. So you know, you can cater it in particular to what you're looking for. So also as well is you have opportunity types. You have a whole, I don't know, hopefully it's coming up on your screen, but you have a whole list of different opportunities here, from training to jobs to apprenticeships to internships, a whole host. And where you can change that is that these little tabs here. So once you come in here, you can do type, you can do apprenticeships, you can do training, CCTV operator, so a whole host of training vacancies, training at the moment, you know, or we can stick to permanent roles, full-time, you can do full-time, part-time roles, really good. And you can change it via salary, hours, and closing date. Now for us, I want to go by postcode, just to show what we have in, just to show in Kingston particularly that you have quite a wealth of vacancies ranging from cycle civil enforcement officer, people advisor at home base. So, and we have a whole host, admin, customer service, construction. We have a host of vacancies. Now, as I was mentioning before, we do have the same service across Wandsworth and Richmond, so we can change this up, and then you'll see different vacancies from different areas. So we have a handyman, SW18, which I believe is Wandsworth. That's all. Yeah, so as you can see, different area. So it particularly shows you where you'll be working, and you can type how far that is for you to travel to. Read through, you'll see the clear instruments, the actual description of the jobs, as I mentioned beforehand, and then you read through it, and if you feel you match the criteria, which is quite low, as you can see, and then you how to apply, not specified, but we already know. You scroll up here and you click this button. So I hope that kind of helps in regards to how you can utilize the actual portal. You know, you have always contact details here as well if need be. Employment support. We have a whole host of information that you can get. also here. So I really would recommend getting yourself registered with us, especially if you live within the borough and you're actively looking for work. It doesn't matter, as I said, if you're unemployed, employed, it doesn't matter your particular circumstances. As long as you have the right to work in the UK and that you live within the borough, we will support you on your journey. That's all. Okay, let's go back to the slide. The auction, and this is our contact details. Thank you so much for your time. I hope to see you soon. Get yourself registered with Workmatch, and we'll be happy to support you on your endeavors. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Hi, hello, Candy and Stephen. Welcome to our community day. I'm really happy to see you today to talk about your organization, which is Healthwatch Kingston. Sorry, we just had Kingston Workmatch, so watch. I wasn't sure which one it was. So yeah, I'm just going to leave you the floor and let you do your presentation.
Thanks very much, Marion. Hi, everyone. I'm Stephen Bitty. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Healthwatch Kingston.
Hi there, I'm Candy. I'm the Deputy Chief Officer at Healthwatch in Kingston.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, I believe Candy's going to help me and share some slides for the presentation today. Just huge thanks to Kingston Libraries and Marion for allowing us this slot, giving us the great opportunity to be able to share what we do in Healthwatch Kingston on behalf of the local residents of the Royal Borough of Kingston upon Thames. I'm not seeing any slides at the moment, Candy. Would that be... Yeah, excellent technicalities. Brilliant. There we go. Didn't we do well? Great cover slide. So the title of our presentation is Discover Healthwatch Kingston upon Thames. And today, yeah, it's Saturday, the 12th of February. Next slide, please, Candy. Tacky problems. There we go.
Tacky problems. Sorry. Here we go.
No worries. Excellent. Okay, so Healthwatch Kingston is a local health watch. We're part of a network of 150 local health watches that are in each borough of England. So across the country, we have local health watches operating. We work with colleagues very closely, of course, in Southwest London. So each other borough in Southwest London has a local health watch as well. So I think the key thing here is I've picked out some of the latest branding guidelines from our Healthwatch England umbrella organisation. And Healthwatch Kingston, of course, I suppose is the most important thing is we're your local health and social care champion. The other key important thing is that we are importantly independent of the system. We work collaboratively with local providers and commissioners of health and social care services, but we're very much independent. So we're here to represent your views, your experiences of local NHS and social care services to those who can make a difference, I suppose, those who are planning services, developing services, improving services. And we engage in many ways across the health and social care system locally. Obviously, we're all gearing up to be supportive of our developing integrated care system, where health and social care are coming together to work collaboratively to provide services across the borough and across Southwest London. That will hopefully provide better joined up care for those people in need. So the bottom line here, I'll read it out to you for those who may have some visual impairment. So remember, your feedback is helping to improve people's lives. So if you need your advice or any advice about health and social care services, or you're ready to tell a story to us at Healthwatch Kingston, we're here to listen. Next slide, please, Candy. As with any organisation these days, we have our website, and it's quite a simple one to remember. It's Healthwatch Kingston, all one word, .org.uk. So that's healthwatchkingston.org.uk. And within the website, we provide various tabs that you can drop down and look for bits of information, which will provide you a bit of an overview, I suppose, of the things that we do, who we are, why we do it, and projects that we've published. And all of our work, I suppose, it is captured in our annual reports, which go up to Healthwatch England on an annual basis every year by the end of June. These reports, again, that come together from those 150 areas across England, then inform Healthwatch England's annual report, for the previous year. So in other words, the report that is in front of you here, so Healthwatch England publishing its annual report for 2021, was informed by our report on the right of your screen, if I'm saying that correctly, it's on the right of mine, which is titled Our Work With You Then and Now. It's called Then and Now because we're always keen to measure our impact. You share information with us, we then take it and share it with those who can make a difference to improve services or adjust services, and then we keep track of those changes so that we can measure the impact that your voices have to help improve local health and social care services. Next slide, please, Candy. Before I ask Candy to play the video for us, I mean, last year's work, it was our biggest year ever, our best year ever. We doubled our engagements. We engaged with about 4,500 people across the year, which was a 100% increase on the previous year's engagement. 18,500 people shared experiences of NHS and social care with us. And we provided information and advice to over 25,000 people. The information and advice element of the work we do is signposting, and it's a legislated part of what Healthwatch Kingston does. Every local Healthwatch is legislated by government to provide signposting to health and social care services within the borough. And we work, of course, collaboratively with Kingston Voluntary Action and Connected Kingston, posting accordingly to Connected Kingston as part of that process. So Candy, would you mind playing the video now? This is actually a video Healthwatch England Healthwatch England's provided to promote the annual report released this year.
At Healthwatch, we listen to your stories about health and social care, what's working well, and particularly what isn't. We take these stories to people in power, and we've seen real change as a result. This year, you told us that it was difficult to see a dentist, that you didn't feel safe being discharged from hospital, that travelling to NHS appointments was hard, that you didn't know how your patient data was being used, that you didn't know where to get help during the pandemic, that you couldn't see your GP in person, that you were still waiting to have surgery, that social care was expensive and hard to understand, that carers aren't given the help they need. In each case, we listened, supporting over 2 million people tell their story or to get the information they need. We included, making sure people from every background had a voice. We acted, raising your concerns with decision makers. We partnered, working with others to get things done. And as a result, we saw real change. Hospitals introduced new checks to make sure that when you leave, you get the support you need at home. The NHS has clarified how it uses your health records to research new treatments, plan services, and how you can choose to opt out. When unpaid carers told us they were worried about getting COVID and not being able to look after their loved ones, we helped to make sure they were prioritised for vaccines. We made thousands of recommendations that improved local care for everyone. And where change hasn't happened, you can rely on us to continue to champion your concerns. None of this would have been possible without you, so please share your story with us today, and together we can make the future of healthcare brighter for everyone.
you, Candy. We can just pop up the slide. So that was actually a video. Next slide, please. A video which Healthwatch England created for us to share throughout the network, promoting the annual report that was informed by local Healthwatch annual reports. Healthwatch Kingston submitted its report, obviously in June last year. And I just want to share with you now a few slides, picking up 2 or 3, maybe 4 elements of what was promoted in the video and making it relevant to us. So this is what you said locally to Healthwatch Kingston, some examples about finding an NHS dentist that have informed the Healthwatch England report. It's always good to know what we do locally is actually helping make changes at a national level or other regional levels. I'm going to read these out. They're quite short, so that people with visual impairment have a chance to hear them rather than maybe not see them as well as others. So one person said, "I'm struggling to find an NHS dentist taking on new patients." It was a common complaint issue that was raised across the past couple of years, and it's ongoing, unfortunately. Another person said, "I'm struggling to find a dentist in Kingston accepting new patients. Please, can you advise?" So there's our, people come to us to ask questions for advice and guidance on how to access services. Another person said they're unable to access NHS dental treatment. Another one said not able to get an NHS dental appointment. And this last quote, "I have been trying to register with a number of dental practices in the area, but they are all saying I must wait. Could be months. I'm alone with 2 young girls and would really welcome being able to register with an NHS dentist." So we know there's local need, within the area. It's replicated across England. And because of the work that we've done locally with local Healthwatch, involving Healthwatch England, NHS England and others are now working collaboratively to try and improve the actual volume of appointments and accessibility to local dentists. So it's still not resolved completely yet, but we're moving towards a resolution for this as things move forward. Next slide, please, Candy. I believe it's actually what you said about discharge from hospital. There we are. That's the one. I'm going to pop it on the screen. There we are. Great. Okay, so this is what you said about discharge from hospital. We're talking about Kingston Hospital in this case. And again, I'll read out 4 quotes here from people. One person said, "Communication is not always clear and helpful, and arrangements for discharge keep changing. There's always uncertainty, isn't there, associated with coming out of hospital back into the community. So having clear communication and firm arrangements is always much more comforting for patients who are already managing sort of recuperation post-incident within hospital." Another said, "I have no information about my care plan." We all like to know what's actually coming up, don't we? So it's important that care plans are actually spelt out very clearly for people. Another said, "Everything is a bit up in the air." And another mentioned, "I was generally kept up to date, but maybe a few hours later than was helpful for me to make the arrangements necessary." And I think, we all like enough time to plan things. And I think it's important that obviously people get enough time to actually sort of understand what the next steps are for them, and actually how they can actually ask others to help them when they're discharged from hospital into the community. Next slide, please, Candy. What you said about access to your GP. GP online or phone consultations were an effort to get long explanations before consent and tests were cancelled. Another said, "Very accommodating, offering video calls." And another mentioned, "When I finally managed to get an appointment, the phone call we had with the doctor was brilliant and very helpful. I appreciated the offer of a follow-up call." So these quotes came from a piece of work that Healthwatch Kingston did with local people, where you very kindly shared your experiences with us about how you found access to services, the quality of the care provided in those services, and any follow-up care during the pandemic. And we published last year a 15-month review report on experiences shared with us during that time period. And it was a very useful report. What we did, it was very extensive, as you might imagine, but we broke it into more easily accessible bite-sized chunks, if you like, and provided little mini reports. And they're available on our website as mini reports for each of the areas. So if you went to hospital and you shared an experience with us, you'll find your feedback in the Healthwatch Kingston mini report for that particular engagement exercise. Next slide, please, Candy. Video from Healthwatch England mentioned that it's important that we ensure people from every background are heard within our work, and also noted the benefit of actually partnering with others to get things done. And this slide is making a nod really to some really excellent work that we're doing in collaboration with Kingston Voluntary Action locally and a range of other providers on a project for Kingston, which is being piloted in Kingston on bereavement. So we're doing a community engagement on bereavement and what people feel about bereavement, what services they have experienced, didn't have access to, would like to have access to, and we're exploring the kind of different types of support that people get within the community, whether that be through an engaged provider or whether it be through friends and family and communities themselves. And noting one quote here from somebody from the Tamil community, they've said the Tamil community doesn't like to talk about death before it happens. There is a lack of awareness of services due to language barriers. Translated practical support for organisations to share with service users after death, as well as emotional support, would be helpful. So this work is actually being steered by a Kingston bereavement think tank, and it has a range of organisations involved, from the NHS, social care, community organisations, grassroots organisations and local people. But we've been very active in issuing 3 surveys, one for the public, another for frontline service providers, and another for voluntary sector community leads. And we're triangulating the information, we're comparing the information shared in those surveys with focus group work that KVA have led on with local organisations, focus groups in different areas of the community. So, for example, we've worked with the Korean community, we've worked with the Asian community, Muslim community. We had faith-based groups and life philosophies beliefs groups session the other day that members of the team attended, and it was really quite humbling, I suppose, the experiences that people were sharing, and quite heartening the community effort that's actually sort of made to support people during bereavement, and quite different really community to community within Kingston. Really quite an enlightening piece of work, and I'm looking forward to be able to share this with you before the end of March when the report comes out. Next slide, please, Candy. So we also had a nod to continue to champion people's concerns. I put this slide in here because it kind of made me giggle a little bit. It's not too dissimilar to what many of us are maybe dealing with at the moment, particularly sort of parents or single mums and others in our community who are juggling life pressures alongside work and everything else that we have to do, and trying to sort of keep our mental health and well-being in a good place. And Healthwatch Kingston has continued to champion mental health and well-being within our community for a fair long time now. We actually independently chair our mental health and wellbeing subgroup, which is a subgroup currently of the Communities Task Force from RBK. And obviously we're involved in a range of other initiatives linked to mental health, let alone recently the establishment of, and then the kind of partnering with other local organisations to support Time to Change Kingston. Can I have the next slide, please, Candy? Where would we be without young people? So Healthwatch Kingston works also with what we call our young health watchers. They didn't want to be called young health watchers. They preferred to call themselves Youth Out Loud. So that's what we went with. So Youth Out Loud is a group that is supported to help young people across Kingston and Richmond. We do it in partnership with Healthwatch Richmond to engage us really on their experiences of health and care services. And they've just released the 3rd podcast on emotional health and wellbeing during COVID. So that's available on the Healthwatch Kingston website as well, along with another range of stuff that Youth Out Loud do. I'm going to have a little bit of a drink because my throat is going dry. And next slide, please, Candy. I popped this slide in. It's very busy. I'm not expecting anyone to read it here, but it'll be part of the video once it gets shared. But it just shows that the other areas of work that Healthwatch Kingston gets involved with. I'll just go around the actual sort of tiles and add in the bits that I haven't talked about already in this presentation. We have a range of, or had a range of task groups on community care, hospital services, mental health and learning disability, and noted Youth Out Loud. We engage our volunteers through those groups on a range of engagement exercises and community engagement work. We also run some pilot projects on, one's called Making Safeguarding Personal, that we do in partnership with RBK, where we're looking to engage people with lived experience and their feedback really in a confidential way to Healthwatch Kingston about what the safeguarding process is like for them in Kingston, so that we can help in an anonymised way improve services. We also coordinate the London Safeguarding Voices group, and that is basically a democratic process to engage people from each borough across London, 3 representatives, to support the work of the London Safeguarding Adults Board programme. What else is on this here? We've got a lot of core work that we do is around NHS and social care transformation, governance and scrutiny. So we represent your views at these boards and meetings and committees to influence that change, to ensure that decision makers are informed by what the local needs are for their health and social care services. And of course, as I mentioned before, we signpost to NHS and social care services. We operate open meetings, and when I say open, anyone can come along bi-monthly. So every other month we have open meetings. We used to do them face-to-face. We flipped them to online, as everybody else did in the past couple of years. But we're now hoping to be able to do more community-type surgeries. So community surgeries where people can come and talk to us face-to-face in a safe environment. And I believe on the 15th of March, we're actually partnering up with other partners at the Kingston Health and Wellbeing event at the Kingston United Reformed Church. I believe it's from 11 or 10 till about 4. We'll be there from 11 through till about 3, operating a community surgery, so people can come along and talk to us about their experiences of health and care services locally. That event is primarily targeted at people experiencing homelessness and refugees and asylum seekers. So we're very keen to understand from people what their experiences of their GP are, if they've been to one recently, their dentists, of course, and accessing A&E perhaps. And of course, last but certainly not least, we actually sort of support our all-age learning disability partnership board in Kingston as part of our work to ensure that people with a learning disability and neurodiversity are involved in our work, and we're capturing their voices as part of our local legislated remit. Next slide, please, Candy, thanks. Looking at the time, how we're doing, I've probably got a minute. I think because of the format today, this slide is probably not an easy one to actually sort of get a response to. But of course, none of this, as the Healthwatch England video noted, none of this is possible without you. So please do share your thoughts with Healthwatch Kingston when you get a chance to. You can pop them in the chats and the Facebook Messenger slots as part of this, but you can also email your information to us, your complaints or contact and telephone details, and we'll give you a call back or email you back. So email info@healthwatchkingston.org.uk. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for this presentation. I don't see any comments or questions on Facebook at the moment. So yeah, as you said, if people have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments or email Healthwatch Kingston. Thank you so much. Is there anything that you would like to add before we finish the session?
I think I've probably said enough, but Candy, would you like to add anything?
I'm good, thank you. Just thank you for having us today, Marion.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of the day.
Thanks, Marion. Thanks, Candy. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Amazing. Hi, Craig. Thank you so much for coming to talk about Don't Lock Your Action Group. I think I'm just going to leave you the floor and let you present who you are and what you are doing.
Okay, thank you. I'm just standing in for Penny, who unfortunately has got a bit of laryngitis, so she would do presentation. I'll just do all the talking, really. So basically, Don's Local Action Group was formed by myself and two other AFC women and football fans in March to fight COVID response. You know, we never envisaged what would happen or how long it would go, how big it would get. So basically, we had a chat at the start of March, and I was fortunate enough to be a president of a sports club in Merton. So we had a base. So basically, spoke about it. And then within 5 or 6 days, we was collecting food outside a sports club. Following week, outside some supermarkets. Now high outside 22 supermarkets over 3 boroughs: Kingston, Wandsworth, and Merton. At the moment, now we are still outside 9 supermarkets regular, 7 days a week. Kingston, we're outside on Saturdays and Sundays in Waitrose in Surbiton and Waitrose in Kingston. Basically, what it is, what we've done when we first started it, we was just there to help people with shielding and self-isolating. Because if you remember, you couldn't get no shopping deliveries for up to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But people weren't allowed to go out. You wasn't allowed to go and visit your parents or your elderly folk. But we were. So we spoke to Merton Age UK to give us an idea of what would go into an average food box for a person and a family. We took it from there. And then because we was a sports club, we just finished doing something at the football club. We had a load of volunteers already in place. So it was fun then because people couldn't go out unless you was helping. So we had so many volunteers. And since the 21st of March we started in 2020, we've had over 2,000 volunteers go through us. And last year, obviously, started the stats. Obviously, it was too hectic to do stats. And obviously, you've got to get a leadership group all put in place. Last year, we had 850 volunteers volunteer for us. And I'd say now, regular, we've probably got 450 to 500 still regularly volunteering, which some of us, we worry about our volunteer numbers going down. But when you speak to other organisations, you know, we're very, very fortunate to have so many volunteers. And we help other organisations because the more you go into it as well, other organisations haven't got the number of volunteers that we've got. So, hence some organisations would ask us, you know, one would say they have a meeting of elderly people. They need elderly people picked up from their house, taken to their church or something for an afternoon tea or something once a week. So we put that out to our group. We'll get a driver to collect them from their house, chop them there, pick them up 3 hours later and stuff like that. So here's all my bits of paper, but I don't do presentations. So you just have to bear with me a little bit with stuff like this. So what we do, you have to be referred to us. As originally, people would ring us up, and then we felt, you know, it was going away from the drivers. Because if you're a volunteer driver, you come to us, you pick up the food, and you go to a house, you don't sense something's right, or people aren't in as much need as what they say they are, we lose volunteers. If you lose volunteers, you lose the whole project. You lose the whole organisation. So then we went to a referral system. So to get our food boxes, you have to be referred by either a member, part of the council, a school which identifies that you're in need of food, when they can see that the children are coming in hungry or they're eating all their food quickly. The school family liaison officer gets in touch with us, and then they send a referral form and we get the food out to them. We have an 8-week short-term organisation as in regards to food to be sustainable. So you come to us, we help you for a maximum of 8 weeks. In the 8 weeks, that should give you time to fill out forms, get yourself, if you've got to get any courses, basically to give you a bit of breathing space while you get longer term support put in place. And then after them 8 weeks, hopefully you go back and then there's long term provisions put in place for you. Because what you realise is you don't realise how close you are to needing help. It's as simple as that. We had a person when we first started, and this person had wrote a really famous book in the 70s, and then they needed help. They wouldn't ever imagine they was needing a food box. It's eye-opening. It's a great leveler where the people who are receiving the help are being delivered to by people in like 50, 60,000 pound cars who are okay. And they would probably never envisage someone in a car like that caring for them. The person in the car would never envisage that they was ever going to take food to somebody. And you're not a scrounger, you're not a beggar, you're just unfortunate. Yeah. So you've just had a little bit of a tough time, and people. So I think it's brought the poorest and the richest a little bit closer and a little bit more understanding of the people. Everything do give; they don't just take. And the people who take, they're taking for a reason. They're not just being lazy. If that makes sense to you. Yeah. So so basically, it started in March, and in April, we identified that schools, when the schools were off, there was a lot of children that didn't have digital devices. So we started a project called Keep Kids Connected, which is basically, if you had a laptop that's 8 years or newer, we would take it off of you, if you didn't want it, obviously, take it off of you, wipe it, clean it, and then give it to the schools. And then the schools would give it all to the children. And since we started that, we've given out over 1,300 laptops and similar devices to schools and organisations in Kingston, Merton and Wandsworth, which is where we're based. We do all them 3 boroughs. Later on, I think in 2020, there was a furniture. If you can't afford food and a table breaks or a chair breaks, you're not going to fix your chair because you're not going to have any money to fix chairs. So we took over, Merton Mutual Aid done a furniture. So basically we have a warehouse now with furniture, and it's the same process of you get referral. So if you say, an example is a family got moved from Scotland in the middle of the night for domestic violence and got placed in an accommodation in one of the 3 boroughs, but they have no furniture. They're just brought out for their safety and put in this property. Within about 2 days, we furnished it for them. They've got a table, they've got chairs, they've got beds, they've got mattresses and small beds for the children. So it's not a home. They've given food just to help their way, because we're able to do sort of like things like that. But everything we ever do is volunteer led. If you have no volunteers, you have nothing. Okay. So the volunteers we give them t-shirts, we give them hats, we give them hoodies, we take them on trips. We've got one of our volunteers, Kingsley. He has an old Route Master double-decker bus. So last year we took some clients to Little Hampton for the day. So we identified some families and children, asked them if they would like to go out to the seaside for the day. They got picked up in the location in Wimbledon. The mum or the dad and the children, and off they went to Little Hampton. We provided them with fish and chips and an ice cream, and then they come back. And I always remember one of the ladies was saying that this is the only way that she could take her children to the seaside, because she doesn't have to stress about it. She just gets the children and goes to the meeting point, get on a bus, and they're taken there. Rather than she's got to get them all together, get them to the train station, worry about this and worry about that. So that was as much for mind as much as money as well, because it's stress related. We take our volunteers. The volunteers we went up London, sites of London, so we look after the volunteers. We took the clients and families and kids to see the Christmas lights at Christmas, because I think it's very important that you're not just like other charities. If you just do it's got to be fun. And when the volunteers see that you're doing different things, they feel part of a really good organisation that's making a difference. and we send the photographs, obviously permitting. And when they see that, they're going to tell their friends, look what we're part of, and stuff like that, which is really, really good. We always try to do different things. So here's a list of things here. At Easter last year, we everything's going along smooth. What should we do? I'll tell you what we do. Let's get some Easter eggs. So every store, as the same as getting the normal food, we say, I'll get some Easter eggs. We've got 7,500 Easter eggs given out to all the special needs schools in Kingston, Wandsworth and Merton that we contacted that could take them as long as hospitals. Now, the volunteers, whenever you ask for something at the stall, anything to do with children, or if we ask for items where it's going to a household, a single parent with a child, the donations go through the roof, because you can see when you see the board, you know who it's for, and it's so generous. So we do that at a school. Last September, we collected a load of class packs, like pencil cases and rulers and pen sets for the kids to take to school on their first day of school, because obviously if they haven't got any money, they're probably not going to get that. Every child at Christmas that was in our families, depending on their age, they would get a coat, a toy, or an arts and craft pack. We have different menus. Every week, one of our volunteers was a home economics teacher. So every week in the food boxes, there's a menu. So there's 8 different menus that go out, every single week. So one of them may be like just a curry. So all the ingredients, you'd have to have a couple of little bits of ingredients, and it's step by step. Now, if you have 100 families and only 99 of them don't worry about it, it doesn't matter. But in my head, which everything you have to envisage what's going on. In my head, I have the vision of a family each week knowing that each week they're going to get a different card, a menu card, and each week they look forward to them and their children getting together at the table and making this as part of a family. So even though they're in a little bit of trouble at the moment, they can get together and have a little bit of fun doing stuff like that. And as long as that's in my head, we'll keep doing stuff like that. Other stuff, as well as the weekly food boxes, which has all the basic food, every month a household will get another box with toothpaste, bleach, herbs, spices, salt, pepper, all the little extra bits and pieces which you won't ever get because they cost the money. But then that adds the shampoo, the conditioner, the soap, the cleaning products. So your house is still clean. So it's not the stigmas like you haven't got any money, your house is dirty. We give you like that. What else is there?
You're really doing a lot.
Honestly, when I write it down, and I just keep remembering, it's like wow.
Yeah, when you look back at it and like make a list like that, it is
proper amazing what's done. We're doing a kind of sleep out over just before Christmas. I think it come together within a month, and it was basically ask our volunteers if they want to get sponsored to do a sleep out, and we raised £60,000 within a month, and that got divided between ourselves, Kingston Church's Action on Homelessness, Tooting Community Kitchen, and Faith in Action. One organisation in each of our 3 boroughs. So that's them, obviously, because they all are dealing with people who are sleeping rough and outside, and obviously sleeping outside. And it was one of the coldest weekends of the year. The volunteers who slept out, you appreciated how tough it is. And we had a speech by one of our volunteers who was homeless before, and he's volunteered for us, and now he's got accommodation.
Oh wow!
And he was like in tears doing a speech beforehand. And when you hear some of the harrowing stories, you just lie down for half an hour and you think, blimey, that's it. This is my home.
Yeah.
Where to go? I'll just go home and get back into a nice warm bed. Do that every year. So keep doing that. We help refugees with football boots. We put a shout out. So some refugees play football at the stadium. So some of them didn't have any football boots. So suddenly loads of football boots for them, the children and the parents. We go there with the children. But it's all volunteers. So say So we volunteer. It's nice and simple. Basically, we're outside supermarkets. So if you ever go to any supermarkets and you'll see us, we're not a basket. We're not just like you put your food in a bin. We're visible. There's a table with all our branding on it. There's 1 or 2 volunteers who do 90-minute shifts, and they have a board, a design board of what we're asking for. So when you go into the supermarket, you see it like that. You go in, you remember it, and you hand it out when you go outside. Now during the first lockdown, we would see people, and they would only go out once a week. So if you've done the same shift every week, you would see the same person, and this person would talk to you for like half an hour, because this person wouldn't talk to anybody else. They won't see anybody else because they're going back home. But we always need volunteers, because obviously things are opening up again now. We are getting volunteers, and it is fun. If you help for 90 minutes a week, 90 minutes a fortnight, or 90 minutes a month, then 90 minutes is one less 90-minute shift or slot we have to fill, and that keeps feeding and giving digital devices, and it keeps the whole mechanisms running. You know, we've done the stats last year, where we're fortunate to have a man who does our stats, and it's unbelievable what he does. You know, Merton Council asked, "Oh, have you got any stats and data?" He pinged it over. I was like, "Wow, like that." You know, and last year we've done £1 million worth of food.
Wow, yeah.
But not even trying. It's just it's probably the same with other organisations. When you're not doing it for a reason or recognition, you're just doing it.
Yeah.
It just
flows, and yeah.
As you said earlier, I'm writing stuff down. I've got 4 bits of paper full up with stuff here, and I've kind of forgot some stuff as well. But you know, these are all volunteers, and we do need volunteers, and we do help other organisations. So I don't know. I think it's about trying to get more volunteers. This call on and stuff like that. So if you have got pens and paper, I've got this down. It's fun. It really, really is fun. It's donslocalaction.org/volunteer.
Okay.
So if you go onto there, it's so easy. Honestly, when people come, they ask to volunteer. They can't believe how easy it is, and you're not governed. You don't have to do a certain amount of hours a week, which I think is you have to commit to that. So if you want to do once a month or once every 2 months, you can do that. You just fill in the slot, what slot you're going to do in advance, and that's your slot. It's so you can't be any easier. You meet friends. It gets you. If you're a little bit, you haven't got a lot of social friendship. Come family, and we are a family. We look after each other. Everybody makes friends. We go out as groups together. We meet groups together. On the groups, it's fun. It's a massive family that helps us as much as we help some of the volunteers. The volunteer it's a 2-way thing.
Yeah, I see.
If that's not sounding, it's not sounding, patronising. You see the difference. I see the difference when a few people, when they first volunteer, they might be shy, not talk. The next thing, you can't shut them up. But it's brilliant. But it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you see their parents. Some of the parents, they would start with their parents, and then their parents see the change, and their parents say thank you because you're bringing something about them. And if a lot of people, you get stuck in ruts, you don't have anywhere to go. Now you've got somewhere to go. You've got a purpose. You've got a reason to get up instead of watching television all day. If you're retired or if you're just feeling a little bit down, you can just go. So it is invigorating. It's just brilliant, really. So I can't speak highly enough about all the volunteers, everybody, all the leadership group that help, the shoppers that donate, and you do see some. There's some eye-opening things because you never envisage what you see. You see tough things.
Yeah,
you go to
I can imagine. Yeah,
you see some tough things, and our drivers are eyes and ears as well. Here's another example. A driver went to a property in Wandsworth, and the gentleman, he was one of our faces on our posters, and they went and saw him, and he deteriorated so badly. But what had happened, he had loads of damp in his house. So one of our volunteers got onto the council, took it on board for him, and they moved him out of there, and we've done it all up, and then moved him back in there. You know, if someone's looking a little bit like they need a little bit of help, the driver reports back to myself and my deputy Tim. We concentrate we contact the referrer and say, look, can you do me a favour? Can you go and have a little look on him, or a little look at her, because our driver's a little bit worried, and they'll make sure they feed back to me, and I feed back to the driver, and then the driver's at ease, and we're looking after this person.
Yeah.
So if you're at a school, you're collecting the food for the person. If you're delivering the food, you're keeping an eye on the person. And it's like, honestly, we are like social workers, and we care. People go and just, people just go and make sure they take them under their wing. Anything.
Yeah.
It is a good thing, and all the other charities or organisations on this, whatever they do will be fabulous stuff as well. But they may be doing it in a different area, which we won't know about. But all I can say is, with what we do, with the food and the furniture, you take furniture and the people, there's no furniture in the houses, in some of these houses, and you take furniture and the kids are bouncing around on the settee as you're still taking into the house. The kids are jumping up and down it because they haven't had as nice settee.
Yeah.
You don't want kids. Kids are the. You can't imagine kids not having beds or
it's difficult to consider.
So you're part of that. You're part of everything, really.
Yeah.
Whatever you do. So if you do want to volunteer, and if you just come along and volunteer and see it, just do if you can do every part. You can collect at a supermarket. If you drive, you can go and do a delivery. You can come volunteer at the hub, so you can go from start to finish. You can come along with me in the van and do some furniture and see. Just seeing the pictures on the people's faces where people are caring.
Yeah.
I've never done anything like this in my life. I'd never put anything in a charity box or bucket at a supermarket in my life. But when you leave a supermarket, you see human beings volunteering and giving their time. It must be for a worthwhile cause, because these people are standing there for an hour and a half. And they don't have to.
Yeah.
Doing it. They're collecting food for people they don't even know.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They don't know these people, but they know people in heaven. And they trust the leadership group. They trust our organisation. We trust the referrers who refer them. And just trying to get people back on their feet is the main, is the main thing. That's all it is.
Yeah, it really looks like you're making a real difference in people's life in a very caring and social way. That's amazing.
We had, here's one for you as well. With the school family liaison officer, we got an email back from a teacher who said that she can see the difference in this child now this child comes to school. And she said, when we give the food for the 8 weeks, now if you're struggling for food, there's a good chance you're going to be behind on your electric bills. You're going to be behind on gas bills, so you may not sleep at night. Your children don't know. You're never ever going to tell your children that you're struggling, because you're your children's hero. You can't let your children know any bad things. So we give you food that would free you up to get, say, 4 shirts that may only be £4 for your child.
Yeah.
And the teacher said the only way you can differentiate for a child who's okay and a child who's not is school uniform. Now, if they've all got the school uniform, then everybody's equal.
Yeah.
It just gives you chances to redirect your money where your money can be better served just for them 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So it just makes your peace of mind better. We do that. There's another one as well. We've got the Silver Youth Club we do every Friday. And it's basically for people to come out for 2 hours. They come to the old Rutlishan Sports Club in Merton Park, and we've got one starting in New Malden in about 2 weeks at a church in New Malden. It's going to be every Monday between 12 and 2, where you can just go there, you get some sandwiches, tea and coffee, we do a quiz, and we do bingo. So for 2 hours, you just come along, That doesn't matter who you are. It's all free, and just integrate and then mix with others. And then once the one in Kingston has started, we'll take them out on a bus trip. So this would be people who don't know each other, because there's a lot of people now who are in big houses, but a lot of them unfortunately may have lost their partners. And as you get older, you're not so social, so they'll be sitting in their house, probably not going out if their children live away. But every Friday between 12 and 2, they know they can walk down to the old Rutishans, meet people who they've never met before until they go down there. And it's great. The quiz is funny, and as soon as the bingo, that's it. Boom. It's so delight. It's ruthless, the bingo.
I can imagine.
I mean, it's so, yeah. But you go from volunteers. I think we've got a couple of millionairesses who volunteer for quite a lot of stuff. We've obviously got one person who's homeless who still volunteers. You've got people they may be rich, they may be poor, go to the Silver Club. It's irrelevant, but they're still getting out. Honestly, it's good.
That's amazing. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all of that. And it looks like as I said, you're really making a difference in people's life. I don't see any questions on Facebook, but if anyone wants to become a volunteer, the email and the address is just on the bottom of the screen. Well, you can't see it, but it is there. Is there anything else you would like to add before we finish the session?
No, I think that's it. Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, I've got lots of stuff written down.
In the 10 pages of the list of the things you do.
Just doing stuff, that's all it is.
Well, thank you so much, Craig. That was really, really interesting and really heartwarming as well. Thank you for everything you're doing for the community, and thank you to all the volunteers who work with you. That's really, really amazing. Well, have a lovely rest of the day, and see you soon for new adventures.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.